Yeah, does that sound like Morse code? Wake up, you dogs! Wake up, you cats! Wake up, you boys that are getting too fat. Well, you gotta get walking today. Your hair's turning gray and you're getting fat. What can I say?
That number you showed me is only going to
All right, we're on the air, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing there? Brian Heddy's in the studio. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing wonderful, Mr. Palmer, and you?
And you brought your friend from the Libertarian group in here today for show and tell. Your name again, young man?
Stephen McKnight.
Hello, Stephen McKnight. Now, wait a second. Now, who was it? Your brother, your dad? Somebody last night. You said I knew last time you were here.
My father.
What does he do?
He's
he's the doctor.
He's the rheumatologist.
Funny, just the other day, 24 hours after meeting you, somebody brings him up.
Really?
Isn't that quirky the way life does that? Like, you ever learn a new word? You hear a new word, you've lived whatever odd years you've lived. I've lived a lot of odd years. And you hear a word, next thing you know is you hear it in conversation wherever you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird because you come in here now. Has your father ever been on my show years and years ago?
He might have called in. I don't believe.
Was he a podiatrist?
He's a rheumatologist.
A rheumatologist.
The inflammation in joints man. The one you come to when you really, really need that one thing you can't admit you need to know you knew.
What?
Fibromyalgia.
Ooh. I got a rheumatoid. It ain't something that grows on my rear end. I got a rheumatoid. It keeps coming back again. And actually, rheumatoid arthritis can be dreadfully painful. And I certainly feel for anybody out there that has it. We have to get your dad in here to talk about rheumatoid arthritis.
Thank you, Rhett. Yes. Unfortunately, lately he's been a little bit busy. He's been working Monday through Friday, but he also had an Achilles rupture.
Hey, Shane, could you do me a favor? May I have a bottle of water, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
So
he had him say it again. He had what?
He had an Achilles rupture.
Ow.
He went over to Paris and he thought everything would be fine. And we get a phone call. I want to say it was about 4 o'clock in the morning, our time.
Oh, oui, gay Paris.
And I'm like, what do you mean he's in the hospital?
Oh,
I thought he was going to the loop and stuff. He went to one of the Normandy sites, and they have the concrete things where they put in the machine guns and all 9 yards.
Yeah.
Someone asked him to take a picture.
Oh my word! What?
He climbs up to the top of it, takes the picture, and instead of walking back down, he decides to jump back down.
And how old's your dad?
He's 58.
We need to learn not to jump. Now, Mr. Heddy, I see you have your Smith Curry cup here.
Yes, sir.
It's not a Yeti.
It is a Yeti.
Oh, it's a Yeti? Why does it say Smith Curry on it? Oh, because it's a logo.
Because it's a law firm, and
you got a free Yeti. Hey. Hey. Now, this is an amazing feat. Everybody I know is buying these Yetis.
Mm-hmm.
Who would think that you would take a cup, dip it in your cup holder in your car? Now, I remember when they went up to those things that'll replace the plastic ones that are real thick, and if you get a little moisture in them, they'll replace them. Those were like $15 to $18. Who could spend $18 now? $50 for a Yeti, and everywhere I go, everybody's got a Yeti. Oh, sounds like a song. Everybody's got a Yeti. They've gotta be cooler than cool, but I'm betting those Yetis are ready to spend all the money they get from the fools. What do you think? Pretty good.
No, arthritis.
Yeah, that's good, man. You should think about going pro.
He doesn't know your background. One of your former assistants, of course, has pretty much overcome arthritis. She's still a patient, but
who's this?
Lucy.
Oh, is that how you guys connected up? I forgot that Lucy
yeah,
had the challenges,
still
health
has.
challenges.
I mean, but yeah, but
Because she was
she's
coming in
doing
my studio
excellent.
when she was 9.
Yeah.
9.
Yeah,
Grandpa
well,
used to
in
bring her in
those
here.
days, she would get out of bed in the morning with a 4-poster cane because her knees were so swollen up. 2 knees and 1 ankle. And
Oh,
anyway,
at
yeah,
9 years, no
arthritis
wonder
can
she
be
has
tough.
accelerated maturity.
Yeah.
Remember when she was in here? I always think she was like 15 or 16. She comes in here and she's like, what do you call it? One of those people come in the summer?
Intern.
Interns. So she's an intern. So, and Jody was here then. And I kind of say like, okay, hey, well, I'll tell you what. Like by Tuesday, I go and say, I'll tell you, young lady, you know, it just might be if you pay a lot of attention, that by Friday you could actually engineer an entire live broadcast.
Being a smart aleck with her.
I
Right,
wasn't being,
and-
no,
but-
I really thought I was being
but-
sincere and I was
well,
going to be
yeah,
the big shot.
But
And
you didn't think that she'd actually accomplish that.
no, she did. She did a
She
lot more than that. The
yeah.
next day,
Yeah.
Jody had her
Yeah.
engineer an entire show. Now, this is
Smart
when she
kid.
was either 13 or 14.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's always had, I've noticed that there is an accelerated maturity among those who go through a lot of pain. It's the same with us. You know, you're listening to this broadcast out there and you're going through the valleys. You only grow in the, give me a little reverb, would you? This is God speaking through Rhett. Heavens to Betsy. We all have to do what we can with what we have where we are. But anyway, you only grow in the valleys, child. So actually, it's true though. People don't all your life, you know, you go, oh, I just want to put this together, and we want to freeze frame grandma and grandpa, and everything's fine. Let's go have meatloaf and mashed potatoes, and let's go for a summer barbecue up on an island and get. This is just perfect. Let's freeze frame it. And life is not that way. It's a river. It continues to flow. You cannot grab. You can try to grab onto the sides of the river, the banks, but it's going to sweep you away sooner or later. Every day, do you know the Earth travels in the universe 2 million more miles from where it was yesterday? Did you know that, Sean? Did you know that? That the Earth travels every day 2 million miles in the universe. This whole universe travels, and we are 2 million miles from where we were yesterday at this time, and we've never been here before. Anyway, if you think about it, it's kind of scary. We're out here like, wow, man, like we're on this satellite Earth. Where are we, man? We've never been here before.
I think it takes more than that to scare me, but I understand your point.
No, the only reason you're not scared is because you've lived in. How old are you, by the way, now?
I'm 69 years old this year.
And you said you were out there old. You're not old, but I got to tell you something. I'm
Well,
worse than you at 62. I got a problem with memory.
My dad died at 70. His father died at 70. So when you've got that kind of history in your family,
You're too mean to die so young.
You start to think at 69,
Right.
holy mackerel here, you know?
And how did you, as a fine doctor's son in town, how did you get hooked up with the inimitable Mr. Hetty here?
Believe it or not, through
Well,
emails.
We think alike on a lot of other issues. You're perfect studio. You would think that you'd be able to come in and build the studio. I mean, you're contributing to the employment in our county. You're adding space, opening up space here in the county. You're doing a wonderful thing.
Mm-hmm.
How many hoops did you have to jump through just to get the studio built?
Well, you got to
And it was
remember.
in
You got
an
to
existing
remember.
building.
But you got to remember, I'm Forrest Gump too, and I'm a little stupid. So I remember I blew out all the walls here and put in windows, and then we had the sound consultant came and said, "Oh, you don't want to have windows in here." So I had to take out all the ones. I donated those to the Habitat for Humanity, and then they had to come
In
in,
the studio here. Yeah.
rebuild the walls. And then we had another sound expert come. He said, no, now we got to tear out this side of the wall, and we have to put the special product within the wall for sound, you know, and then we had to put stuff. See this all on the outside? You would not believe what we had to go through. But that's my fault. Now, next door, Cajun Cove, they made him jump through the hoops for a year.
Right. And you know what we want in this county is we want companies, we want businesses like yours to come into the county, to stay in the county. And in fact, you did move into the county from your former location. And that's what we want. We want businesses coming into our community.
Not
And
like Natalie's Juice, that they wouldn't deal with them. Now Natalie's Juice has this big international
right
factory down in Fort Pierce, and it was originally here.
in St. Lucie County.
Let's have a big duh, the three of us. 1, 2, 3. Duh.
But-
Come on, give me some no, give me some duhs.
I gave you a duh. You didn't hear me.
Ready?
But
Red.
Rhett, we you know the Libertarian Party is preaching that gospel, that government. Let's get government the heck
The
out
only thing with
of
the
our
libertarians, though, if
lives.
you take them to the extreme, take any of these characters.
Well, you take any,
liberals,
the Democrats, the
you
Republicans,
guys want,
Libertarians,
you
pick
want,
any
you
of
guys
them.
want everything, all drugs legalized.
People have said everything from we want all drugs legalized to why do we need a government? In reality, we want medical marijuana legalized, but there's other things out there. And to be honest, yeah, there's a lot of people that are officials.
When Barbara had cancer, though, the marijuana didn't do jack when she was taking it.
Oh,
It
you
works
told
on
me
some
about that. I'm
patients
sorry,
and
I'm sorry.
doesn't on others.
Huh?
It works on some patients, doesn't on others.
Okay.
But I would take a different approach on marijuana. I would not legalize marijuana,
Oh,
but I would sunset the laws that make it illegal.
Okay, would you pass that over here so we can talk about this? Oh, man.
And the
Back
difference,
in the 60s, man.
the difference is, if government were to legalize it, it looks like government is sanctioning it. But what we should do is to sunset the law that make it illegal. So now there's no books on the law that make it illegal, and it will stop the picking up kids on the street.
I would
corner.
rather have marijuana legal than have texting not texters not prosecuted. I will admit, I don't remember if texting was. I don't know if I text back then. I don't think I did. I think I was just doing something on my phone. Something was going on my cell phone. I was over near, where you can go up Aviation, or you can go by the Newport Club. You can go by Steve
That's
Romang's
26th Avenue.
office. Yeah, 26. Take that around and then take the right, and you go by that the roadkill place, or road food place or something. Anyways, so I'm right there. And one day I was like, thank God I was alone. Thank God I live in Vero Beach. This is why I'd probably be dead and gone if I lived in New York and I was, making my 16 million a year like Katie Couric and having to take a limit. Oh no, that's right. I would have had a limousine every day, but who would want that anyway? Seriously. But anyway, so I went right through the red light. This is maybe, I don't know, 7 years ago, but I really gave myself a talking to. I said, do you realize what you just did? There's been another car coming. I'm telling you, texters scare me. It happens all the time. Now I know a few years ago you were a traveler.
There's
We
laws
just went
on
up
the
to Maine
book.
and stuff. Now I'm telling you what, every time I travel, no less than 3 people swerve over into my lane. I look over, they're texting. Now are you still driving like you used
I
to?
drive all over the place.
Okay, will you concur? Have you run into texters?
I think that it's pretty amazing as you drive up, particularly the turnpikes. It's pretty amazing as you look across and you see the driver and they've got a computer on their lap
Yeah.
with a screen popped up against the steering
Yeah.
wheel. So they're reading the computer and driving, and they've got their shoulder up to their ear holding a cell phone.
Okay.
So they're talking, reading the computer,
Mhm.
driving, and
hold on, I got one worse. The other day, right here in Vero Beach, I'm driving, and this kid comes around the corner, young kid. Now, I'm surprised I'm still alive because good old Poughkeepsie, I used to ride my bicycle, my best friend everywhere. Well, anyway, he comes around the corner and almost comes towards me, and then finally looks at. He's on his thing texting. He's driving his bicycle and texting this 9-10-year-old. Now, this is getting ridiculous when kids are almost coming out into traffic. And imagine how it would have ruined my life if I killed this kid. And it would have certainly ruined his life.
I ended it.
I don't know.
Right? But
Yeah, that's what concerns me. I'm surprised I survived, and I didn't even text back then on my bicycle. I look back and I go, wow. What are we gonna do about this?
Here's the thing. You talk about texting and laws and whatnot. There are laws on the books right now that that a person texting can be prosecuted. And reckless endangerment. There's lots of different statutes on the books that would cover these things. Even though when the statutes were implemented, when they were voted on, texting wasn't even contemplated. But you can't drive in a reckless manner. That's against the law. It's been against the law for a long time. And certainly driving while texting is reckless.
Or impaired. Now I want to tell you something. This is Forrest Gump. I'm pretty stupid, I guess. So 2 years ago now, it was Memorial Day, and I had something wrong with a tooth. So I'm on, what's the stuff they put you on when you have a bad tooth? Cocaine. Cocaine is codeine. Okay. I've never taken it. I've never taken it. Well, how's cocaine?
Codeine, yeah. Okay.
I've never had cocaine on it, as far as I know. Anyway, so I go over. First of all, I haven't taken one, the pain, and I'm on my way to my friend's house. So I drop a codeine. I mean, so I drop the codeine, and I go to my friend's house, and there's a big party. Hey, how you doing? Hey, it's Rhett Palmer, the local radio guy. And people are shaking my hands. I listen to you every day, and they're all being real nice to me. It's over out near Oslo, somewhere in one of those communities out there. So anyway, look, I got my tag on my shirt. Look at that. Is that ridiculous? But anyway, so so I think, hey man, the codeine's nothing's happening. I'm going to accelerate this process. I drop another one. Boing! Okay, so all of a sudden I'm in the kitchen with these friends, and they're all the people that I'd met shaking hands with, and they listen to the show and all stuff. And all of a sudden I start to go, and I said, excuse me, I said, I don't mean to be rude, but I can't even go back in that room and say goodbye. I gotta go now. And so I get in my car. This is when Barbara's in the hospital for cancer, so 9 visits to the hospital, 7 operations. Anyway, so I'm driving home, and I went, wow. I said, this is what it used to be like when I drank. I used to drink years ago. I haven't drank in over 6 years. And if I ever thought I was missing getting high, I said, this is horrible. This is not fun. If you really think about it objectively. So anyway, I get to my house. I run up the stairs. Blah, blah, the great throne room there. I'm down on my knees. And I said, well, I don't want to do that again. Now, I thought driving impaired meant you were drinking. So I'm thinking I'm completely legal.
You were driving impaired?
I didn't realize that it's illegal to any drug. I didn't know that. So when you see these little ladies that almost sideswipe you around here, and they're kind of like on their happy drugs in the morning here in Vero Beach, Florida.
It's driving impaired.
Yeah. So it's like I drove impaired, even though I haven't had a drink in 6.5 years.
Yeah.
So, okay, Mr. Libertarian.
Yes, sir.
The mic is yours.
Thank you.
You're friends with Brian Hetty.
Yes, sir.
Now, why are you two connected? Last time he came and you came with him. This time he came and you came with him.
Yes.
So what's the hidden agenda here?
Well, Brian actually was switched to Libertarian. It was on the news. He switched to the Libertarian Party, and then he's running now. And because he's running now, he's no party affiliation because he hadn't been a Libertarian for 365 days.
Oh, so what you want to clarify? Oh, what's that?
You have to be in a party for 365 days to run as a candidate.
Oh, so he cannot run as a Libertarian candidate yet?
Yes.
So if you could, would you be running as a Libertarian candidate this time?
Well, I think that no party affiliation for county offices is probably what we ought to have more of. I don't think there's Democrat, Republican, or Libertarian issues in the county. I think there's people issues in the county, and we need to disassociate ourselves with parties and do the right thing for the public.
Got to take a break. We'll be back with Brian Hetty and
Steve McKnight.
It's 2:30 in the morning.
Just got in under the wire there. Thank you, guys. Can you believe that was a half an hour?
Was it really? No, I'm having a blast.
Look,
Seriously, thank you.
Look at 8:27.
Wow,
We did our first half hour.
I'm having a blast. Seriously.
Oh, yeah? Oh, good. And yet you didn't get to talk to us. I apologize. Sometimes I have this coffee and I kind of go over this.
No. I understand. Trust me, please.
Right, after the break, if you want to talk about some of these.
Well, I got to give him a chance.
Yeah.
If I do.
If
So
you
we're
want to
talking
talk
about what?
about some of these forums, I tell you.
Are you going to the tax collectors thing today? I am. The chairwoman of Republican invited me. That lady, the older blonde lady, lives at how's the accent?
The Taxpayers Association,
What did I say?
tax collector.
Oh, yeah, taxpayers.
Thinking tax collector things?
Told
She's
you what I-
unopposed.
Yes, you already won, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
But-
happy to report because I need the income. She is going to place an ad, a small ad, but an ad that's saying thank you to.
Well,
Community.
at least to pay you back for what she already did the last time.
Why didn't do it? No. This is not the tax collector. This is the lady that's the chair lady.
Oh, the Republican, okay.
No, Carol. No, I had to consult with you. No, actually, Carol Jean Jordan.
Well, she got money in her account. You need to make it known now. Sooner, not later,
How do you know she does?
because I gave you all that
You
information.
did, yes, you. Oh, I'd already told you the story. I better call her.
But anyway, you
Okay,
like,
Judge Lenny Villafranco 13 minutes ago said he's on his way. When he comes in, then I have to clear the house for at least a while or whatever. Anyway, let's go here to Carol Jean Jordan. So let's go here to Carol Jean Jordan. Carol Jean.
you like this guy, right?
Carol. Okay. I do like him, yes. He's a good guy.
Okay, well, let's,
Hasn't got a chance, and I know.
I don't know about that. And let's talk about, the couple of events this week.
Joe was in here yesterday. Go Joe Airman.
Yeah.
He's running against Zork
Mhm.
and Rodolico, and there's one other person.
Yeah.
I wonder who's going to win that then. I think it'd probably be the incumbent, but I don't know.
I hope Mark wins it.
Mark's a good guy.
He is, and that's what I want to say on the air.
It would be totally and absolutely refreshing. Now I happen
I
to,
called
I
him.
like Tim Zork, but somebody said the other night that he got mad at somebody and was like being childish about saying, were you there when this happened?
These are the people, Ron. I had to print it out and stuff them.
Thank you.
Indian River County Commissioners.
Okay, so I'll say Carol Jean.
And this guy,
Joseph Ehrman, I think, might have been the other one. And Richard, no, Richard.
I don't know whether you like Lang or Aaron, but these two had the sensible answers on the lagoon.
Oh, I have a bunch of stuff. I even have phone numbers you can call now. It's ridiculous. They the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, as well as the algae-related sickness hotline.
Uh-huh. And they have phone numbers for,
Both. It's right there at the top, the 1-800s.
oh, wow.
It's wild. I mean, it took them a week just to get the findings on the test. A week. To tell people that if you accidentally drink it, you could get toxicity of the liver, you could get discharges, lesions.
You know what you should do? Are you heading up this libertarian group here in town?
Yes.
Why don't you do this?
Okay.
Why don't you get some of these guys that have some dough and have a consistent ad in my magazine? I'll even work out a little bit of a reduced rate for you throughout the year. Get people to know. It's taken me years. I get people like him talking libertarian. I'm finally getting it. And finally, I'm on board that we've got to eliminate. Here's Carol Jean Jordan. Hello, Carol Jean Jordan. Hello. How are you? How are you? I want to congratulate you that you ran uncontested. But I was looking over the files here, which says that you got some contributions. And you remember last time, the other election, which was 3 or 4 years ago, whatever it was, there was still some money owed to me. And then at that time, I got the bill to you too late or something, and the money had already been cleared out of the account. Is there any chance that you can compensate me for that now with that extra money you have? Okay. Oh, you are? Okay. All right. Well, hey, you know what you could do? You could run a thank you ad in my magazine. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. All right, let's talk about this soon. You want me to call you, after hours, after I'm off the air hours? Okay. I'm gonna go to that Taxpayers Association luncheon today at the club, at that Vero Beach Club. Yes, it is. You gonna come? Oh. Well, anyway, congratulations about running uncontested. That's cool, isn't it? Okay. All right. Oh, good. The more of that, the better for America. We got to arm ourselves. I have a gun. Somebody bought me a gun this year, that Debbie Maycumber, they have a lot of dough, so they bought me. I still haven't used it, but I've got to start taking training. I don't want to have it on my person until I'm trained, so my emotions don't rule, but that my training rules. I am. I'm going to do that. Yeah, you should be packing too. Good. All I kind of thought maybe he had. Yeah. All right, then I will talk to you
Back
soon.
in 30 seconds.
Talk about it. No, they already closed up that thing. But she said she might want to run it, but it has nothing to do with that because they're doing some sort of a concealed weapons class or something. Do you care? Do you pack?
Somebody asked me whether or not I had a gun, and I said, yeah. They said, you do? I said, yeah. I said, well,
Can I ask you that on the air? Do you have a gun? Okay.
Now, the most trusted name in radio, Rhett, the mayor of the airwaves.
I was up to the gun show, I don't know, 9 months ago with Joseph Sempervivo. He's the guy that's running for chairman of the Republican committee. Okay. Chairman, because there's a woman and there's a man. Okay. So anyway, we're up at that gun fair. And do you pack, by the way?
No, I do not.
You don't?
I'm a member of the NRA, but no, I do
You are?
not.
Okay.
Yes.
And by the way, introduce yourself to our audience.
My name is Stephen McKnight, and I'm a member of the Libertarian Party.
And we also have Mr. Brian Heading here. Are you a member of the Libertarian Party?
I am.
Okay. But you're running under independent.
I'm a registered voter, a registered independent voter, and
Okay.
I'm running as an
Are
independent.
you packing? Or should I ask you a question after I establish this? Let me just say this. So I'm up at the gun fest, whatever you call that thing. And there's some odd ducks running around there, or what I construe as odd ducks. And because if you're different from me, you're odd duck, but they say I'm an odd duck. But anyway, so I'm saying, gee, Joseph, what if somebody goes postal here? He goes, Rhett, you're in the safest place in the world. He said, because we'll have them down with that. And I thought, he allayed my fears. I thought, yeah, you're right. And lately, male and female, most people I know now, they're packing. And I'm glad. Matter of fact, Sean, how you doing, Sean? Are you packing? At the moment, do you have you put this in my kind of good. Do you have a license?
I do not, but Eva does.
Okay, because I have we have a gun that was given to us, which we have not taken out of the box yet. Somebody brought it over here, a couple months ago, and gave it to us, and I thanked them for that gift. But I got to start taking lessons. But in today's world, it's like all of a sudden you're over at the mall, and this actually happened in a mall in America. This guy comes around, he's shooting people, and other guy comes around the corner and he's backing. The other guy's gun jammed. The bad guy's gun jammed. He's sitting on the floor trying to fix this, and the guy comes around the corner with a gun. He's packing. He takes it out. The bad guy realizes, accountability. He takes the gun, puts it in his mouth, and kills himself. That freaking piece of crap coward. But if it wasn't for the guy packing, I tell you what, I'm in a mall, and some dude's coming in there, and somebody else is packing, and they down him. I'm going to be real happy. I'm going to be real happy for all the little kids around me, the moms and dads and grandpas, right?
Well,
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
you know, Donald Trump sometimes says things in a rather bombastic way,
Oh,
but
no.
he was
And this
talking.
coming from you.
Well, yeah, I mean,
You're the Donald Trump of beer, aren't you?
well, I certainly have been accused of that, but I think that I was saying things in a bombastic way before Donald Trump
You
was
need to
running
put
for
your mic
president.
up like, so you think you're talking into the mic with the mic, and so get us people not to touch those mics. There you go. Okay, because it goes in the side, not the top. Okay.
But you know, he made some comments about what would have happened in Orlando if there were people packing. And you know, I'm not going to advocate people go out to
Well,
nightclubs and
Yeah,
pack.
drinking.
I'm
and,
not going to advocate that everybody you know, strap on a gun but I'll tell you, on 9/11, if our government wasn't so concerned about controlling us, then there would have been people on that plane that had guns, and that plane might have went down, but it wouldn't have hit the World Trade Center,
Or
you know, or the Pentagon.
yeah, but I was with somebody very impressive in government yesterday, and a very impressive individual, and they said, how come there were no engines? How come there was no wings? How come there wasn't a dang thing left of that plane at the Pentagon? It's very bizarre. And the fact that there were some money issues that were being questioned regarding some records, and those records were all destroyed. You know, I hate to say, you know.
Well, but back to the gun issue. I think that in today's world, with what's going on, I think that people are well advised to take some training, understand how to
Here
use
is the
gun.
problem. I'm an emotional guy. I don't know if you are or not. I don't know. That's for you to decide. I know I'm an emotional guy. My life runs better. Emotions are like children. You shouldn't let them drive the car, but you also shouldn't stuff them in the trunk. You know?
Yeah.
But I tell you what, you know, just like this, now, I don't know what went down the other day, and that hopefully that'll be revealed with that cop. Seemingly, you know, the guy says, I have a gun. He goes to reach to get his wallet, and the guy puts 4 bullets in him. Now, there might be more to that story, but if there's not, then the cop didn't have enough training. You don't respond emotionally, right?
Well, I think the cops are in a terrible position in today's world. I mean, this guy.
I'm for him. God bless our police officers.
This guy in Dallas just guns them down.
Yeah, it's terrible.
You know, I mean, it's awful.
And then they put their lives on the line. Like for that black lady, she's crying, saying she jumped on her son's body, and then the cops circled around them and said, they're white guys as well as black cops, you know, circled around them, putting their lives in harm's way to protect them. She was reduced. She's so thankful.
But you know, Rhett, if you look throughout the world, it's not just the United States. I mean, it's just all over. There's crazies all over, and the crazies in today's world don't just throw rocks. They throw bombs. They throw bullets, and they have assault rifles, and you know, and suicide vests. And you know, I certainly don't know what the answer is, but it certainly is a crazy world that we live in. And I think that if more people were armed, less tragedies would be as large as they are, because somebody would take them out.
Well, do you know that there's like this these inflammatory talk shows that are on at midnight?
Mm-hmm. This
Um,
particular
Alex Jones.
Yeah.
You ever hear him? Okay. Do you know that he makes $100 million a year?
So maybe we should just
More
be
than Rush.
inflammatory here, right?
No. Do you realize that I
build
could
an
do that?
audience.
Do you realize if I wanted to? But I can't. I'm just, you know, I believe to myself that I am true to myself, genuine to myself, and you know, I wouldn't want to live that all the time thinking there's another theory. I was just out with a theorist. I was out with Chuck Norris's son yesterday. He was in town for a new motion picture called Amerigeddon.
Mhm.
Have you heard of it?
I have not.
Yeah. And he's what would be considered quote unquote a conspiracy theorist. Conspiracy
Theorist.
theorist.
It's a theory. It's a theory. It's a conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theorists, yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff is valid. Like I've been watching the videos on 911 where I lost my brother, and you went up and you took that picture and you gave us the cover of our issue.
Of the magazine, yeah.
Yeah, of our Vera's Voice. Great photo you took there, by the way. And you wonder what really went down. You wonder how evil we've gotten. You wonder in the cahoots about this one world order. And the fact that they can take out the entire United States electrically with just firing this electronic thing into our grid.
Well, on 9/11, and this goes back to 2001. My brother was in the city working at his studio, and when the first plane hit, shortly after that, I called him, "Hey, Pete, what the heck's going on up there?" He said, "I don't know, Brian." He says, "That's crazy." He says, and at that point, there wasn't a clear indication at all that this was an intentional attack. And I was speaking to him on his studio phone on a 212 area code telephone number. And after the second plane hit, I called him back. Hey Pete, you got a problem there in the city. And his 212 exchange wouldn't ring through. And the government has the ability to just shut down entire area codes. And you couldn't get through on a 212 number. Now, I wound up talking to him, but I wound up talking to him on his 800 number because it's not clearly identified with a simple switch.
Why would they shut down the 212?
Because they didn't know what was going on, and they wanted to stop communications into the city from possible terrorists. So they shut down the telephone system.
No common sense there at all.
Well,
Well,
I'm
I'm sure
not sure that you're not missing something. See, if you don't think deceptively, it's hard to realize what's going down. There are people that, just like these conspiracy whatever they are, theorists, that they chew on this stuff day and night. And to me, it would wear out my soul. I would be such an unhappy if I was making $100 million a year doing midnight show, and I could do it. I could do it tomorrow. I can hire 2 consultants. I can have them in here. I can hire you 2 guys. Hey, I'm going to pay you guys. I want you to feed me all this negative stuff. I'm going to go on the air and I'm going to scare everybody, and I'm going to sell vitamins, which they do, and the people are going to believe, Rhett's the good guy and they're all the bad guy, and buy my vitamins, which are totally useless to your body and they can't be assimilated into your bloodstream, but sell them nonetheless. And I'm making who wants to live a life like that? Why don't you come on up to my mansion in Maine? This I earned it with filthy lucre. No, thank you. I tell you what, I can walk out this door today and I can go anywhere in town. I can hold my head high and look people in the eye. I try to keep it very honest here.
But you're right about the negativity, and it certainly
Yeah.
at every level, whether it's here or on a national level. And I'll tell you, I was at a political event here in the county, and Mark the hair guy.
Mark Guadalupe, we were out exercising together last night.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, it was so refreshing to hear a guy. He's running, of course, for county commission. And it was so refreshing to hear a guy who had positive input, who had good solutions, whose ideas you could just tell
He's
from the way he
real.
talked. This
He's a
guy
husband
is
and a dad,
real.
a cancer survivor.
This guy is real, and he had good solutions, and he spoke well, and I was really impressed. In fact, I'll tell you, quite frankly, I called him yesterday, and I told him that because I was there, I saw the school board and the sheriffs and the other candidates, county commission, of course, and I called him and I told him that out of all of the candidates that I listened to, his was the most heartfelt, the most real, the most sincere answers of any of the other candidates. And, I certainly hope he does well in the election, but I tell you, well, you know him, so you do listen to him. But if you listen to some of the things this guy said, he's got good solutions. He's got good answers to the challenges that we face here in this county. And and I tell you, I was at another event, and it was nice to hear both Aaron and Lang come up with some answers about the pollution being dumped into the.
What about Dale Gladden?
Well, the two that I really liked in terms of their answers for the dumping into the lagoon were both Lang and Aaron. And both of those candidates recognized that the problem isn't going to be solved by just dumping on somebody else, by just dumping to the south, but rather we need a comprehensive plan that addresses how all this water gets into Lake Okeechobee to begin with. And the cities, the municipalities north of the lake, what they've done is they've just channeled all of their runoff that goes down into there. And both Aaron and Lang said that what we really need to do is we need to look at closing some of that down, at cleaning up some of that water. And they're absolutely right. And the same thing holds true here in our county. Our government, our local government, county, they've got this idea that what we need to do to stop the pollution is to attack you, the homeowner, because you have a septic system and you're somehow contributing to this pollution in the lagoon. And septic systems, if they work properly, don't contribute pollution to anything. But this is a way where government can expand their hold on you, can expand their tax base. When, if you look at the real issue, you see that the biggest contributor to pollution in our lagoon is government. We dump more pollution as a governing authority, dump more pollution into the lagoon than all of the homeowners in the county combined. And there are ways of solving the problem. Henry Flagler, when he built the railroad, he built it on top of the Florida Ridge. And at that time, the Florida Ridge kept the rain and the runoff on the west side of the Florida Ridge. It stayed over there. And what we did was we decided it'd be a good idea to drain the swamp so that developers could make a whole lot of money and build all of these subdivisions out there. And where'd we drain the swamp? We drained it underneath the Florida Ridge, and into the lagoon. If we want to solve the problem that we've created, then we need to look at nature. You talk about this all the time. You talk about God's plan and the wisdom of nature. If we were to stop government from dumping into the lagoon, we would go a very long way towards solving the problem. And there are ways of doing that. There's cost-effective ways of doing that, but it doesn't put more tax dollars in the governing body's pockets. Right. So they aren't interested.
I feel like we're ignoring you today. Someday I got to get you in here. I have a problem with ADHD, so I get swayed over to Brian. Then you're sitting here not saying anything, and I feel guilty because I want you to. I'm sure you hadn't. Brian brought you in here. That was very kind of you. Thank you, Brian.
Actually, you invited him back last Wednesday. You invited him back, and you tried to get a couple of the county commissioners to come in.
I called. Who did we call? We called two on the phone.
We called Bob Solari and Jay Kramer.
Bob Solari wants to come on, but he'll come on in the future.
He'll come on with the other candidates.
I don't know how to ask him, but I know he will after the primary, because right now you're not really running against him right now. You're in no matter what. He's running against. Who's running against? Kramer.
I'm a candidate for county commission in the district in which.
Does Kramer have to back out of the city? Does he have to resign in order to run for county commission or no?
Actually, what he would have to do is to resign his position in the city effective, and the effective date of the resignation would be the first day of office.
So he doesn't have to give up.
That he's running for.
So in other words, if he loses this commissioner thing, then he can still.
His term is over anyway.
His what?
His term is over anyway. So
in the city?
His term would be over by the time, if he won county commission, his term in the city would be over.
Let's say he doesn't win county commission.
Then, because the primary is August the 30th.
Yeah.
and the qualifying period to run for city extends into September.
Oh, he can okay.
He can go down and qualify to once again
Let me say
run
something.
for city.
You know, I'm not a political guy. I think I'm a good guy. I think I'm a genuine guy to myself. So if I know myself to be true, I think I am a genuine guy, and to others. But I'm not really a political guy. I don't think like I just haven't even got an image to think like a thief or whatever it is you got to think like, and you got to think on all sides, honestly. And tough luck if you don't believe it, because you do. To be a good politician, you got to be able to view all sides, good or bad in your heart. You've got to be able to view all sides. Even Abraham Lincoln, read his writings. As good as you think he is, I'm on tour, and I took a tour with a Lincolnologist or whatever in Washington. I tell you what, he walked the razor's edge. In order to get elected, you've got to. I put it to my lips, but I did not inhale. Mm-hmm. So everybody, whoever did smoke, he connects to everybody. Okay, that was, well, by the way, not Lincoln.
We knew what you were talking about.
Yes, we know.
That was McDonald.
I did not have sex with that woman.
It was a very good imitation.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes, impersonation, sorry.
Oh, thank you. What did I say first? What did you say first? Not
intimidation.
It's okay. We're both so old. Who gives a crap?
What can I tell you?
I put other
Good
words.
impersonation.
So where was I going with this whole thing?
I got me confused, man.
I got me confused. Hello, anybody out there know where we were going? Text me right now. 473-7777.
Abe Lincoln did walk the line, and most successful politicians do walk the line. And that's one of the things that people tell me all the time. And one of the things I've refused to do is walk the line. I just tell you what I believe to be true.
I've had people calling me wanting me to run for county commission and stuff. But let's say, the only thing is, just my life is so crazy full. Now, if I ran for city and all of a sudden I don't make the meetings, isn't that like, don't I get in trouble with the law? And don't I also have to reveal all my income and all my properties and everything else that
There's a certain amount of financial disclosure involved, but as far as making
certain amount, or is it totally new?
There's a certain amount of financial disclosure that's involved. But as far as making the meeting is concerned, there's two meetings that would be mandatory in the city, and that would be the first and the third Tuesday of the month. And the first Tuesday.
What if you don't make those? Have you broken the law by not representing your people?
No, but you would.
What if I want to go to Maine for a month?
You would call Tammy Vach and you would tell her that that you're going to be in Maine for a month.
See, I haven't even been elected, and I want to know about my vacation.
And they would give you an excused absence for for those meetings. You can't just not show up.
Oh, really?
Well,
see, I don't like that. I don't like answering to anybody. No thanks.
And how does Barbara feel about that? She's not here to defend herself when you make those statements.
No comment.
But not now. Now you're starting to get the right idea about being a politician. No comment works, and and that's certainly one of my shortcomings in terms of running for office, is that I way too often just tell people exactly the way I feel. In fact, I caught hell up in Gifford at the community center. One of the candidates didn't like the amount of time I took to answer. It was basically a racial question, and and my retort was that if you don't think that there's black and white issues in this community, then you're probably white.
And that was very, very strong of you.
Well,
I guess I'm white then, because I don't think we have much of a problem here.
Oh gosh.
What are you telling me? What are you talking about?
Well,
we gotta take a break.
All right.
Okay,
Well, we'll
stick
talk
around.
about it after the break.
All right.
Riverside Theater presents the Howl at the Moon experience. For more than 25 years, Howl has been the world's biggest name in film and entertainment.
Here he is. It's Judge Villafranco. He's here to say hello, hi. How you doing? Okay, I already told these guys that they would have to.
Lenny Villafranco, nice to meet you.
And he's running for office. So
Hi, how are you?
How you doing?
Len Villafranco.
I'm Brian Hetty.
Hey, Brian, nice to meet you. I was listening on the way up.
We're going to give you the studio to yourself.
All right, it's all right.
Well, Rhett is already.
Legally, you can't be in here with him, right? Because he's running for.
I
Congress.
could be in, it just can't appear like I'm endorsing him
Oh,
or
okay.
he's endorsing me. So
All right. Well, you guys can stay in then.
it's up to him.
Thank you, Justin.
There we go.
Yeah.
Stuff off the seat.
Hey, Bill Franco, you want some coffee today?
I just had some.
If you didn't shave it, I'd swear your head was going gray.
You'd be right.
By the way,
you know, you're supposed to pull those tags off those shirts.
He's gonna return it. He wears them
He
a
wears
couple
them
of
and
times
returns
and
them.
then
Yeah,
brings it
yeah,
back
yeah.
for full credit.
Claiborne.
Yeah.
By the way, you gotta let me know if you're running. Remember, we had a deal where you were gonna be in the magazine, but you were gonna let me know if you're gonna run the last month.
Yeah,
So are you?
I probably am, but we gotta
You
talk
gotta let
about
me
it.
know now, because we're putting all that thing together.
We gotta
So
talk.
actually, we already had the deadline, but Barbara, because of the cancer, it's been really flaring up this memory thing with her.
Yeah,
Chemo brain, they call
I probably will. I want to discuss it with you. So I got 2 more fundraisers coming up.
it. Well, this Thursday, right? No,
No, this
that's the one I missed.
a week from yesterday
Why
is
did I
one in
miss yours?
Stewart. You missed the one in Fort Pierce. You were out of town,
Okay.
but I got the one coming up at Bocce.
When?
You're sponsoring that for me, so don't forget.
I'm sponsoring
Yeah.
that one.
It's on the
What does it
19th.
mean I'm sponsoring it? What does that mean?
Means you put up a bunch of money.
Yeah, no money involved, just your name. You told me that. It's all cool. Yeah, I sent out an email and just says, the name of a couple of lawyers.
Dead air. Are we live?
I'm not giving you 7 seconds.
Sure you should.
No.
Yeah?
I heard he's leaving.
Yeah, he is, yeah. Actually, what? No, tomorrow, Friday's your last day, right?
Yeah, unless you keep this up, and then maybe it's Thursday.
Yeah, go on. See if we care. Boo! Take that. I'm gonna hold down the button so you can't talk back.
I can actually continue to talk into this.
Baby.
Hey, in the words of my friend Johnny Paycheck, you can take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more.
Where you going,
You
Shane?
should play that song. You should play that song, man.
Haven't you ever noticed when it's an employee's last week, they get really sassy, don't they?
Yeah. Fuck, you did a little.
Where you going, Shane?
I'd be sassy my last week, but I've been this sassy most of the
You're
time.
not gonna tell me.
Oh, yeah. I have a boot collection. I keep my faith to myself.
Donald is now ahead of Hillary in Florida.
Altar boy, parochial school.
Really?
That's what happened.
Wow.
Hold on, I can take a picture. Let's take a picture.
Yeah, and
of this.
I guess he's probably been concentrating on the.
It's the 25th, Rhett.
Why is it that studio sound guys always have this certain look? You know what I mean? Like, you guys, is this your DNA? Look, I want you both to look at me here. Look at me. You guys look like a record album or something.
The technical guys are always, brilliant.
Really creative guy.
Yeah. Can't make money.
Remember, you're live in there on YouTube.
That's what we were just talking about.
Somebody say coffee? Anybody got coffee?
I have a full cup. We're live on YouTube. Oh, the camera's there in the corner, yes, right there.
Every day, Rhett. Every day. Before I leave, I'm putting a big sign up that says, remember, you're on Candid Camera.
Well, we gotta get two signs. One on this and for them, one over here for me.
There's gonna be a little neon arrows pointing to it.
It really needs to be. And somebody said that. There needs to be signs that says, remember, in this room, you're always on.
Always consider your own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you did. Start with-
Just, you know, we need to get that sign made.
Two minutes, oh,
Is that Barbara's car?
4 minutes.
Oh, you got yourself a black Mercedes.
Oh, it's a loaner.
Oh, your other one's being worked on?
Yeah, just, regular tune-up and all that.
I just got a new car.
What'd you get?
I got a 2008 Nissan. It's got 183,000 miles on it.
It's a lot of miles
It
for
was-
no weight.
It was run by, Barbara's family, niece and nephew. They always took it in, got the oil changed. It's one of those Nissan, it's a big one. It looks like it's a minivan.
Oh, okay.
Quest.
Yes. And I'm getting such a kick out of it because I got what they wanted 3,800 for. Book value is more than that. So I said, well, I'll give you 500 a month for 8 months. It'll be $4,000 if you hold it. I said, sure. All right, go ahead. So I'm paying, and in 8 months it's paid for. Already made the first payment.
Yeah, yeah.
I just took it over to the car wash. I had it for a whole day. I mean, super detailed, you know. And
Yeah.
there's a real kick driving around something that you get that cheap. It feels so
Yeah,
good.
we
You
just bought
know?
my stepdaughter a car.
Yeah,
We got her a
like-
little, what's it called? The little retro PT Cruiser.
Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah, she got a yellow one, so it's kind of cute.
You bought it for her?
My wife did. She saved money that she saved the child support payment she gets.
I'm playing 2 minutes of spot.
Okay.
2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes.
So how was your trip? I feel like I haven't seen you in a while.
Weren't you in here last week with me? Or was I going again?
Oh, yeah, I think I was here last week.
But I was like running around or doing something. I think maybe you mostly talked to,
Yeah. And then
you know, when you're ADHD,
yeah.
if there's one person in here, I can do it. This is like, now I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do, because I gotta give him attention, you attention, you attention, him attention. I don't know where to do it. Yesterday I interviewed Chuck Norris's son.
I saw that.
I
I saw
I'm gonna
that.
go over to the restaurant, but it's just he and I.
Yeah.
I have that a gift for hyper focus. The same thing, and by the way, King had this, Larry King had this, his son wrote in the book. I have the ability, if I go to him, I go to a restaurant, you guys leave, and I just do a recorded interview with him. He becomes my world, or whoever.
Yeah.
When there's more than it's like, oh, I got to, all of a sudden I'm on Villafranco, but then all of a sudden, oh, well, I'm ignoring these guys, and I got to give him some time. And it's
Well, you're campaigning. You put me on the back burner. I can come back anytime. So please. Yeah.
he's a
He's the one
libertarian.
complaining, not me.
No, I'm not complaining. Libertarian, but
Now, you should do this like every
I'm nonpartisan.
Wednesday.
what?
Just have
I mean,
this
seriously.
political
Just have
talk.
choice.
Well, no, what I really need to do is, I'm really not, no one's ever done this. I was just thinking, what I need to have do is have all the candidates come, charge them $1,000 each, not for radio. We have a full day and do recorded shows, everybody, or maybe do it inside somewhere and have a full day, and you get to have a booth, and it's one day for everybody in Vera to come meet all the candidates. They're all invited. And we have a stage there, and I end up interviewing, the 3 judges would be, is it 3 or 4 of you
4
guys?
of us.
4, oh my gosh. Who's the other one? I know that, now I've met, oh, did I tell you that what's his name, Bob?
The sister. came
Yeah,
in.
she came in here and gave me a bunch of money. I had the other guy
Has he
here.
been on though?
I don't know why
What was
there's
her point of coming in giving you?
well, it seems like you endorsed Villafranco, and I said, I don't think I endorsed anybody. I said, I said,
Well, actually, you
I
did.
like
Back at
Villafranco, but they were watching the YouTube. That's why we have to be careful. We're on YouTube right now. That's why we gotta get those signs in there. See, I like talking to people off the air, and now I gotta watch everything I say.
The cheetah generation. We're just having a cup of coffee.
You're allowed to endorse and sponsor and do anything you want. I mean, you're your own person.
I've never, I don't think I've ever, did I ever endorse you? I may have said I was gonna vote for you. I don't know. I don't
That's
really,
called an endorsement.
Barbara says I shouldn't endorse anybody because it stay clean, because otherwise it gets messy. Does Rush endorse? Well, yeah.
Oh,
course he does.
absolutely. Are you kidding? Sure. Well, I would disagree with Barbara. I would say that your endorsement shows that you're intelligent enough to make a decision for the betterment of the community.
All right, this is the mayor of the airwaves, and we have Mr. or super soon Judge Filafranco. He's in here.
Hopefully, Rhett, hopefully.
It's who would you say it's? There's four of you.
There's four of us.
Okay,
By the way,
hold
my
on.
name is Leonard Silvio Villafranco.
Leonard, how you doing, Leonard?
Doing
Lenny,
fine.
did you take out the garbage, Lenny? What did your mother call you?
My mother called me Leonard.
Oh, Leonard.
Yes.
Leonard. Leonard, like Da Vinci.
Yes, and Silvio is the middle name, named after my grandfather.
Silvio.
And the last name is Villafranco. A lot of people think it's hard to say, but it really isn't. It's
just
pronounced just the way it's spelled, and it's spelled just the way it's
I
pronounced.
for a while when I first met you, it was like, oh, well, what's that name? But when you separate, just go Villa, like a villa, and Franco, like the dictator.
Very simple. Well, let's hope they compare me to that.
Franco-American.
Franco-American,
Do they still
yes.
make Franco-American spaghetti?
I think so. I don't know. If they do, I haven't had it in years.
No. I used to like it when they had the Franco-American spaghetti, and it wasn't Fra Diavolo, but it had a little kick to it when I was a kid. They stopped making it, and it was really good because I was homesick, for the
I
food
never
or
could
something.
quite figure out why spaghetti came in circles, though.
I love the SpaghettiOs; they're fun.
That and a grilled cheese sandwich. Perfect when you're homesick.
Oh my word! Grilled cheese, extra well done with tomato on it,
Oh, yeah.
bubbling off the sides where it gets burned.
Right, you do that
Oh,
well.
my word. Barbara makes an awesome grilled cheese. But you want to know what the secret is? You put a little butter on there. But the secret is to make it extra crispy. A wee little bit of extra virgin
Olive oil.
Yeah. And you want to try something else? My ex used to do this. Made the best fried eggs in the universe with not butter, olive oil.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
My
When you get
grandmother
used
used
to
to do
that
that.
flavor, oh my
Yes.
word, that's the best tasting fried egg you'll ever have. I hate it when you go into a restaurant and then they got this yellow stuff that's kind of left from the grill, and that ain't butter. You know what I mean? And it's like, because I know now margarine stays in your bloodstream forever. You do not want to indulge in it. Was made. You know what margarine was made for? It was made as a greaser for equipment during the war to put the lube.
I can believe that.
And some guy goes, hey, that didn't taste so bad, did
If you want to try a good grilled cheese sandwich, Rhett, take your bread and butter it with mayonnaise. Just slather it with mayonnaise.
Really? That's interesting.
And use that side to fry with, because the mayonnaise is egg and there's some olive oil in it and whatnot. And it really crisps up the sandwich. But when you put the tomato on it, also put oregano. And so good.
Well, my wife makes grilled cheeses with exotic cheeses. She actually makes them as appetizers for parties and cuts them into little squares. But she uses Fontina cheese and pepper jack cheese and cheeses like that.
Elizabeth Kennedy.
Okay.
And she's a famous caterer in this town. And the thing is, she has the intellect to keep it simple. You ever notice? Have you ever heard of the Green Turtle down in the Keys? Famous restaurant. So I go down there to interview the chef. And he's famous for his mashed potatoes. He said, Rhett, I'm going to tell you something. If you have a recipe that has 8 ingredients and you can knock it down to 4, do it. The greatest chefs know about simplicity because it doesn't confuse the taste. Just like the greatest producers and record people don't realize this. Listen to any of the Beatles songs. Every song, there's a bunch of instruments, but there's one instrument that gives it a flavor. It could be an oboe. It could be a harmonica.
Well, the Beatles recorded with 4 tracks.
Yeah, but
at the beginning of their career, and they went up to 8.
But you're missing my point. I understand that. There's always a flavor, though. And when a great chef, he said, I said, what do you work in your mashed potatoes? He said, you want to know the truth? There was, I don't know, they're Yukon potatoes or something like that. Whatever he said they were. Idaho potatoes, I don't know. They're extra heavy cream, thick butter, and salt. That's it. And they're whipped. And they're delicious. And, it's like the simple things. Well, you can confuse it. Like, have one dominant flavor. It's like getting a record, they say, if you're producing. It took me 50 years to learn this. You pick one instrument that gives it that unusual flavor. Okay, so, all right, let's listen to Jojo was can you find the song? Can you find the song "Get Back" by the Beatles? Okay, find the song "Get Back" by the Beatles. We're going to listen to this and we'll analyze it. Now, recently I ran into them on YouTube. Jojo was a man who thought he was a loner, but he knew it couldn't last. Okay, there's two instruments that you hear strongly in that song.
John's guitar
Okay,
and Billy Preston's keyboard.
bingo with the Preston's keyboard. I think the other one is the drums.
He kept a very steady beat. Yeah.
Now, oh, that.
Yeah, that was all John.
You're right.
That was John on lead in that
That's
song.
right. I forgot about
George
that.
just played a
You
little
are
background rhythm
right.
guitar.
That's right. And usually George played the lead.
Yes,
Very
that
good.
was
You would remember
Oh, I'm a
that.
diehard Beatles fan.
That's excellent.
We could talk
you remember
Beatles
that.
all day, right?
I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, that is phenomenal. You did. Yes, our judges say that Philip Franco did a great job of that. You did. So did we find the song yet? Have they played it or no?
No, I haven't heard it yet.
Okay, so okay, they're looking for it now, Shane is in there training up Sean. These two are very confusing. Now for the next 6 months, I'll be calling Sean Shane because Shane will be
As long as
gone.
he answers,
Now
it's
he's
okay.
Sean. Huh?
As long as he answers.
Your phone's ringing there.
Sorry about that.
That's right. The age of the phone. All right. So anyway, did you find it yet? Okay, here we go. This is "Get Back" by the Beatles. Drums. There's the guitar.
That's John.
Oh, they haven't brought in. Billy Preston's not in yet.
No, just a
Wait,
solo.
Hold on, listen. There. Oh, really? So you notice they didn't muck it up. That's John on the guitar. Normally it would be George, but George is just doing rhythm. Now he's playing a slide, right? Now, is Billy Preston in there, or is he at least playing chords?
Not yet.
Are you sure? Now, you would think, well, he's there. There's an obligation
Here
to
he
have him
comes
in there.
now.
Here we go. There. They called him the fifth Beatle.
Yes, they did.
Died of cancer a few years back.
Played on this. He played on "Come Together."
You're right. So anyway, the point is that I guess the point was there's something dominant in every song. And how did that connect to whatever we were talking about?
You were talking about food, my second favorite subject.
What was I saying? I've forgotten how we got off on this
I have
thing.
no idea, Rhett.
This show is like the 60s. It's like, except without the dope. It's like, it's like, I go, hey, Brian, what are we talking about? I don't know. Well, we can rewind the show. That's all right. Hey, pass that, man. Hey. All right, when we get off there, let's go get some brownies, all right?
Is that a horse?
Anyway, did you smoke pot when you were younger, Brian?
No, I was pretty good.
Didn't
I
you?
behaved myself.
Never?
No, for the most part, I
You ain't
behaved. Well, no, I never got into the drug scene. No.
Do you know what happened to me? I was 14, and this girl, Poet, and I were hanging out. It was a platonic relationship. She actually had another boyfriend, older boyfriend, but the two of us were like hitchhiking around up near Woodstock, New York, New Paltz, New York. And I had this belt, and I admit that I did try hashish for a short while and opium, and you put it into this little pipe. Well, the pipe was my belt buckle. So by the time I was 15 and a half, by the way, when I got to Woodstock, by the time I got to Woodstock,
If you remember
I'd given up.
Woodstock, you weren't there.
Yeah, I was there, but I wasn't doing dope then. But anyway, I'd gotten away from marijuana stuff. But anyway, at this point, I had some hashish, and so I have this pipe, and of course, it has the residual in it. Well, we're hitchhiking, Poet and I, over New Paltz, New York, heading to a farm, and on the way, the state police pulled over. And this is this would have been a year before Woodstock. So he pulls me over and he points at my belt and goes, "What's that?" And he says, "Listen," he said, and we all thought that cops were pigs. "Hey man, they're all a bunch of pigs." And if I listened to the older guys, it would be, give the cops a finger. Anyway, this cop would change my life, the state police, because he pulled over. "What are you guys doing?" "Oh, we're hitchhiking." Blah, blah, okay. He said, "What's that?" He looks at my belt. He just looked at it, wasn't expecting an answer. It was a rhetorical question. He said, "I'm going to drive off now. When I do, I want you to get rid of that." Now, had he arrested him, do you know how that would have affected a little 14-year-old's life forever? So he drove off, and I really, I was thought, he ain't a pig. This cop is my friend. And I took that hashish pipe, and I took it, I undid it from the belt, and it could unclasp it, and I flung it into that cornfield. And that's when I realized, you know what? I have to choose between him and a man of discipline and life, and the hippy dippy doodle people that I was hanging with. That was probably a deciding moment when I said,
That's good, Rhett.
yeah, I think that was when it started. He planted a good seed, and that's what. And if there's any cops listening, man, let the kids know that you are their friend.
Yeah, we appreciate their service, believe me.
That's for sure.
When most of us are taught to run away from a dangerous situation,
Yeah.
they're running into it.
Like they did in Dallas.
Exactly.
Look at that black lady.
Exactly.
That beautiful black woman there. She jumps on her son's body, and all of a sudden she says she can't believe she broke up. She says, and they came in and encircled us.
Yep.
White cops, black cops, they encircled them to protect them, to take the bullets for them. And I believe she said one did and died. I mean, she just was breaking up. But she now she knew. I mean, I think women are particularly, well, maybe men too, but it's just like when they say Jesus took the bullet for us, and he says, so too should a man be willing to lay down his life for his wife, as Jesus was, as we are the bride of Christ, so too, then you can imagine, like your wife, if she knew, let's say you took a bullet for her in the leg.
Yes.
I mean, you're going to get back quite a residual on that act for the rest of your remaining days, because women don't forget. Yeah, I had an old friend. She said, anytime, Ellen, and you're in Troy, New York, and she said, Rhett, anytime you give a woman 25 cents, you're going to get back $2.50 change, and that's true. Look at it. You give a woman a house. You give a woman a house, and what do you get back? A home. You give a woman sperm. What do you get back? A life. I mean, it goes on, and it's true in real life. The smallest courtesy most women appreciate.
Johnny Carson said the next time he was getting serious about a woman, he was just going to give her the house and avoid all of the lawyers.
That's the smart thing to do. Hey, look, if you're making millions, why not? Look, honey, okay, we're going to get married. Here it is. It's already done.
He's going to give her the house and forget the lawyers.
Now, what I would do, first of all, I would say, look, I don't know whether you're here for me for the money or you really love me. That's what the terrible thing about fame and fortune is. Give it to them and say, I want you to think about this for a month from now, and then we'll get married in a month. And then and if we don't, then I understand. You got the house, and then we can both just be on our way. But if you really love me, then you can still have the house, and then we'll do it. Yeah, you're right. That'd be the wise way to do it.
There you go.
So.
I like to think about things like that. I have a beautiful young wife. She loves me. She supports me, and she's always there.
Yeah, I don't think about those things because she's rich.
No, she's not rich.
I'm only kidding. I just thought that was a good. I was thinking about a friend of mine here who's multi-millionaire, and they're going through a divorce now. And he called me and said, "Well, she's not going to walk away, a rich girl, But I don't know, whatever. So I just wish everybody would get along.
Well, as a divorce lawyer, I can tell you that does not happen too often.
Now, you are a divorce lawyer.
I do a lot of divorces. I wouldn't say that's all I do, but I do quite a few divorces and family issues in my practice.
Do you try to be an advocate of peace, love, mending, healing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm a very big believer in what we call ADR, alternative dispute resolution. I'd rather steer my clients to resolving their issues on their own rather than going to court.
Eldon Walker, famous ball player.
Okay.
Used to take me over to the Vero Beach Club on Thursdays, he and his wife. They were married at this point, 72 years, and I asked his wife, and they're both deceased now. He pitched against Babe Ruth. It's a long story. But anyway, so I said, have you ever considered divorce in 72 years? She goes, no. She said, murder. Now everybody laughs because when you laugh, there's a truth somewhere hidden there. You see, that generation didn't believe in
No.
divorce. They would, in other words, see her commitment, murder, but not. When you were married, you married. And how many people go, look, I know things about George Sr. I won't talk about it on there, but let's just say he had questionable activities in his early days. Barbara stuck by him, okay? I can tell you a lot of stories of old-time families where there's a thread. Maybe it wasn't adultery. I don't know what the situation. A lot of people go through a thread. And how many years later now do people look back and go, you know, I wish Al and I stuck together. Well, in the old days, they did.
They did.
You work it out. It's called a commitment and, you know, a vow. That's probably why I've never gotten married. I don't trust you. You know? Because I think you make a vow before God, you ought to say, these people make a mockery of God by getting 5 and 8, you know, divorces. What's that crap? That's not marriage. You lie. You're worse than me. At least, if I'm going to make a vow, I'm going to keep it. Oh, we got married. Do you think you're better than me because you've been married 3 times? I don't think so.
No. You've never been married, huh?
No.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I need to, though. So it's the only thing I've done wrong against my Lord and Savior is not being married. Fear. Barbara says it's because of my mom. Alcoholic mom.
Oh.
I don't trust women. But that's my own personal stick. You know, we all have our issues, right?
I can't keep a girlfriend.
How old are you?
I'm 33 now.
He's still a baby.
Still dropping them, but every time,
What?
it's just like you're gonna talk about this now. You're gonna go on the radio and talk about this now. You're gonna bring this up. You know what my grandmother said? My grandmother said you're just as bad. So yeah. Political commentary. Doing any type of political commentary.
I don't understand what he just said. Your
His
grandmother's still
girlfriend
alive.
didn't like political commentary.
Is this about coming on now, my show?
No. I'm just talking about in general if you have any opinions. Like, for instance, Debbie Mayfield's working on Amendment 1. You bring it up on the radio, and then people come up to you and they're like, why did you bring up Debbie Mayfield Amendment 1 that way? I don't know. I thought it was the right thing to do. Well, that's interesting. And then a week later.
Well, I got to tell you something. You've been in here twice. And, you know, I know you're a doctor's son. I don't know what you do for a living, but I can tell you this. You're not a person of guile. You know, you're not a person of deceit. I know that already.
Thank you.
When you're great,
Yes.
This guy's a straight shooter.
Thank
I
you.
don't know you, you know, you know, I know you're a libertarian now, and I'm learning what a libertarian is.
Well, yeah. In the words of James Madison, we believe in life, liberty, and estate. And
Like liberty and estate?
Yes, sir.
Oh, in other words, we own our land, we own it.
Yes.
And we shouldn't, if a father earns a farm, he shouldn't have to, the children shouldn't have to come up with, $50 million to pay the tax, right? Inheritance tax?
Right. I mean, to be honest, another way of saying it is, like Ronald Reagan said, the heart and soul of conservatism is libertarianism. It's more about what's precious to us as Americans, as opposed to what's precious to us being seen by other countries.
Okay, expound on that.
Sure. One of the great things about this country is religious liberty.
Mhm.
This is one of the few countries on earth that actually expresses and shows religious liberty regardless of situation. Even the consequences down in Fort Pierce that have reverberated back since the Orlando shooting. So it's things like that that really makes this country great, and that's why I love being a libertarian.
Okay. If we want to learn more about being a libertarian or what a libertarian is and the definition thereof, do you have a website?
Yes, the national website is lp.org, and the state website is lpf.org.
All right, now we also have Mr. Villafranco in here today.
Yes.
Leonard Sylvia. Now, how's it going to read? Because Mark the hair guy is on the, you can't believe it. It's going to be Mark the hair guy Rodolico is actually on the ballots. I don't know how he did that. But he said he had to prove that he was Mark the hair guy. Like if I ever ran, I can legally just prove that I've been publications and stuff. I can run as Rhett, the mayor of the Airways, Palmer.
You can.
Yeah. So who are you running against?
There are four people running in my race.
Meadows.
Yes, I'm Robert Meadows, Michael McNicholas down in Stewart.
Michael McNicholas?
McNicholas, he's a real estate attorney in Stewart.
Okay.
And Moylan, Patrick,
Moylan.
Kenyon
He's
Patrick
the one who was in
Moylan.
here last week.
Yes, I heard that he was on your show.
Have you met him?
Oh, I've met him a number of times. Very
Okay.
nice man.
Yeah, very nice man. Well, you've said that. You said that you haven't said anything disparaging
There's nothing
about
to,
anybody.
there's
So-
nothing to say disparaging about my opponents. They're all fine lawyers. I think the public has the advantage of knowing that they're going to be well served no matter what. I just think I'm a little more qualified. Leonard Silvio Villafranco.
You stick around. We'll come back after the
Absolutely.
news. Okay,
Thank
everybody,
you.
you stick around, Brian Hetty.
I will be here, Mr. Palmer.
And you, sir, your name is?
Steve McKnight, stuck here till the end of time.
What day of the week is it? Wednesday?
It is Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, I gotta call there. Oh, Bixby says, fifth Beatle was George Martin, not Billy Preston. Yeah, but they have.
That's not true. They never referred to George Martin as the fifth Beatle. They referred to Brian Epstein as the fifth Beatle at the beginning, and then they referred to.
Can you imagine though, I look at the pictures now, you didn't grow up with it, but you're 33. But can you imagine being a Beatle? Do you realize what they did? I mean, how did that whole thing go down? And the songs were revolutionary.
And they still are.
I mean, but you're like Elvis, you're going to keep singing the rock and roll. Instead, all of a sudden they go, they had the intellect. Both McCartney and Lennon are brilliant.
They did everything. I mean, they had songs with country flair to it. They had songs with opera. They had songs with
It's
classical.
It's
You
amazing.
listen to their stuff, and
A lot of their bass music was from the classical.
Do you think that was the training that McCartney had? The bass? Oh, you're not saying the
No,
bass.
the basis of their music, if you look, there was a
That
lot
was
of
Martin's
classical.
influence,
well, they were classically trained also.
No,
They all went to school.
can't read or write music. None of them.
I don't think that's true.
I'll wager you $100 bet.
Betting's against the law.
Yeah, we're on YouTube, so you better watch out. But it is amazing. I look at them sometimes and go, I was just looking, what was I watching yesterday? Oh, that Get Back thing. That's how I got into the Get Back. I saw that video on YouTube. Just the songs, one after the other.
Mhm.
I'm a songwriter, I write songs all the time.
There's a good point. Betting's against the law. Why should it be against the law for you two guys to make a wager? Are you kidding
Is
me?
that against the law? For you
It
and I
is.
to make a wager?
Yes,
Technically
That's bull
speaking,
crap.
yeah.
exactly.
That's bull crap. Yeah. Stay out of my pocket.
Stay out of my
pocket, Uncle Sam. You shouldn't really give a damn if I wanna do what I really wanna do, as long as it don't bother the red, white, and blue.
But if you're
Let me
willing,
be me. Let me be free. I'm a libertarian, it's plain to see.
if you're willing to pay the tax and you're
Play the
willing to pay
piano.
the fees,
You
then
do?
you can set up, like the Indians in Florida. You can set up casinos, you can set up all kinds of, you're willing to pay the tax, you can set up a dog racing track. But if you two guys make an individual bet between the two of you, because government's not getting their tax, they're not getting their cut.
Music is an amazing thing, isn't it? Music.
Yes, it's- I was on and
I
out there. You got
I
me.
love my music. I've got about 5,000 songs right on this, including the entire Beatle catalog.
F minor, C, F minor, G, 7.
What song is that?
I'm just making something up here.
He's writing a classic in front of us.
I know that the department just visited Warriors Police Department. I don't know anything going on there.
No, I really don't. I mean, I know there's a
How
lot
much
going
does this
on
lane
with the fire
site have?
chief.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
She's, yeah. So she
We're
pressed the
like
button or
paper
she
games,
can't investigate?
Pardon?
As far as I know, they're still investigating the situation, but she's been removed. There's an acting chief for that now.
That's a shame.
Yeah, she was a nice lady. I don't know what all the details are. I didn't discuss it, but I like everybody.
Oh,
I try to find the good in everybody.
That's what took me time.
wow. It's a shame.
The thing that's like, there's nothing I can do. Songs is we take 5 minutes to go to it and I sit on it. My phone goes to sleep. Re-record it.
Bored.
Hey, Rhett,
Yeah,
who was in yesterday? Was it Dale Glading or Ermin?
Ermin, Joey Ermin.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thanks for keeping that record. Oh, yeah, you explained that to him about the
Yes.
politics.
I just, for
Very
some reason,
important.
I get Ermin and Glading confused.
Don't forget to get Judge Villafranco on there.
He's already on my list.
Oh, and Hetty too.
Villafranco's on my short list.
And Hetty too. He's running for office, don't forget.
Yes, and yes.
Are these my glasses?
Shane's obviously had way too much caffeine this morning.
Yes. Oh, we're coming back in about 30 seconds too.
By the way, Dr. Ramdev, we can put him on hold till September 1st.
Now, the most trusted name in radio, Rhett, the mayor of the airwaves.
Brian Hetty provided me with a sheet of people that are running and the monetary contributions. For instance, clerk of the court, Jeffrey Smith, monetary contributions, $19,500.
Now, he doesn't have to spend 5 cents of that because no one opposed him, so.
What will happen
he's-
to that?
Well, there's rules on what you can do with the money. You can donate it to 501c3 corporations. You can send it back to the donors. You can't just take it and stuff it in your pocket.
Like Carol Jean Jordan just went uncontested. So, and today she told me on the phone that money's all going back to the contributors because it doesn't need it. Now, Sheriff Lohr here, $88,550. Now, this is by what date, by the way? Is this current or?
Those were the July 1st reports. And the next report is due in on Friday.
Okay. Let's see. Frederick Mensing did not
He
qualify
didn't
for
qualify.
sheriff. There's no money there. Sheriff Daryl Rivers. He did
River
qualify,
City Police.
$10,921. Property appraiser withdrawn, Reuben. Okay, Wesley Davis, $74,185. Okay, property appraiser David Nolte,
Now,
$34,000.
those would be two interesting guys for you to get in. It'd be nice to know, to hear, and you know, your show would be a perfect venue for it. And
Yeah.
get Wesley and David in there. And David
Davis.
has reportedly been doing a good job.
David Nolte, you're right.
Wesley's opposing him. Why? You know, it'd be nice to know
Yeah.
why.
David's been in office for years.
He's right. He's a fixture down there.
The incumbent. Now Wesley's already left being a commissioner. To do
He's
this, right?
resigned. His term ends this year,
Okay.
and he has instead decided to run for a property appraiser.
Pretty confident that I'm like, what if it doesn't? I wonder what I'll have to ask him that. But anyway, Carol Jean Jordan, she qualified, no
Unopposed.
contest, $19,571. Okay, supervisor Leslie Swan,
Also
$19,425.
unopposed.
Yeah. Board of County Commissioners.
You got some
Susan
competition.
Adams, 22,000.
That's Fran Adams' daughter.
Yep. Board of County Commissioners, District 1 is Richard Gilmore, 3,900. Board of Commissioners, James
Sebastian
Hill,
City Council.
4,000.
No, Hill's withdrawn.
He did. Why?
He withdrew. He's not in the race anymore.
Joseph Ehrman, he was in here yesterday, 45,281. Charles Kirby, 4,300. Let's see. Mark Rodolico, my friend who has with us.
I listened to him. I told you that earlier on the show. I listened to him. This guy is heartfelt. He's sincere. His answers are from the heart, and they're good answers. Really good candidate.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Well, I think most people are good. Okay, we got Timothy Zork, 29,597. Brian Hetty.
Now there's a candidate.
3,615. Well, I didn't know that you're collecting. Where are you getting that money from, boy?
That was my money. I put my money up in order to qualify to be on the ballot. You have to pay the supervisor of elections to put your name on the ballot.
I'm not so sure. That means it's limited to only people.
Well, of course, it's.
That's not right.
Of course, it's not right.
Because we have the Buggy Bunch, which is a female group, group in town.
Mm-hmm.
The nice thing about it is they get contributions from people like me and other people like Joe Conrado, who owns the McDonald franchise in town, because there's no charge to join. So economically, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Chinese, Japanese, whatever it might be, you are not charged to join. So anybody there's no economic boundaries here. The fact that you have to pay that kind of money, that's kind of, you know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, Jay Kramer, he's come up with $37,778. Bob Solari, he's more than the sheriff, $127,000.
Now, let me just ask you, Rhett. Do you believe
Wow.
in your heart, do you believe in your brain, do you believe that candidates for elective office, when they pick up these kinds of massive amounts of money, do you believe that that's somebody's buying access to them? Because, I just don't believe for a second that when you contribute massive amounts of money to a candidate, that you don't expect something in return.
Well, why don't you ferret this out? Why don't you be a muckraker? I mean, let's find out if somebody later on how they vote, and if it's.
There's 24 hours in a day.
But you can't follow everybody.
No, there's 24 hours in a day.
And also, and I'm not suggesting Bob Solari. I'm just saying, or anybody else. Well, yeah, you can.
I'm suggesting that
whatever,
all that kind of money, they expect something in return.
They do, no matter who the candidate is. So we have to be worried. That's why I believe we should have an extra tax. Oh, Rhett wants another tax. That's right. You're darn right. $3 everybody every time we have an election. I already figured it out mathematically. It's going to be, I don't know, it's like, I think it'll be like $2 or $3 billion by the time elections came up. National, I'm talking about the every 4 elections.
Well, there's a check off on your income tax.
What you do is you give $500 million, or let's say you give $1 billion. You give $1 billion to Obama and $1 billion to the person contesting him or whoever it might be. In this case, $1 billion would go to Trump and $1 billion would go to, and that's all they get.
And that's all they can spend?
That's it.
Okay. And aren't you limiting freedom of speech?
I don't know, but the thing is, how do you stop all this influence?
You stop the influence by the American public starting to get involved and listen to the candidates. And I'm telling you, if they went to candidate forums, and I don't mean to kind of keep picking on Mark the hair guy, but if you go to candidate forums and you listen and you hear people like Mark, it's like, oh my gosh, this guy is absolutely 100% sincere. This is the kind of guy that you want on a county commission.
Okay, you were going to say something though.
Yeah, this reminds me of what I call blue collar crime. In this city, which is the biggest city in the county, there is not a steelworkers union. There's no construction unions I'm aware of. I'm a member of the AFL-CIO. All I know of is the Teamsters. Where are all these blue-collar workers we need? They're not in Sebastian.
Well, there's no blue-collar jobs.
Yes, and this all interrelates. I'm telling you, this all interrelates.
What are you suggesting? What am I missing?
Well, I mean, for instance, you were talking about the First Amendment and how that affects everything. Construction workers, steel workers, architects, engineers. that right there. I mean, all of that is necessary to enforce the First Amendment.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of unions that could be here in the city that are not.
Okay, so
And
is that good or bad?
that's a bad thing.
Why?
Because the city's trying to get bigger. This is supposed to be the county seat. This is supposed to be the city and the county everyone wants to go to.
Yeah.
Without unions and representation for workers who can get fired and are salaried, you'll never move up to where you want to be able to compete with cities like Port St. Lucie.
So you're a libertarian guy that believes in less government, but you believe in more unions?
More unions, yes. A lot of them
He's
believe
a union guy. Now why?
it takes the place of government.
I wish I had a union.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Maybe there should be radio on it. Maybe there is a union, you know?
Screenwriters Guild.
They come in here and they'll contest me and say, hey, Palmer, you got to pay yourself more.
But then they might come in and tell you that you need 3 writers.
Why would they say I need 3 writers?
Well, because often when unions start to take control, they start to make management decisions.
Which is not right. It's like government.
No, right.
So you two are not on the same page with this.
I think the only reason that unions exist is because of bad employers.
Of course, because when employers had years ago, they took advantage of the workers. Now the unions take advantage. Whoever's in position of power takes advantage.
I was a union contractor in New York, and the union hierarchy hated me. But the union workers would rather work for my company than any of them.
Why?
Because I treated the employees with respect. Because I understood that the way I make money is to have my employees give a hoot about my company. And the only way that they're going to give a hoot about my company is if I give a hoot about them. And I did. And they knew it. You know, and I took care of the employees. And
when you can, that's a good thing. But if you're
it
scraping
pays-
by and you can't give the raise you want to give to somebody,
Well, the only thing I can tell you is, Rhett, that every time I gave a raise, it took a very, very short period of time before the money came back to me. Huge dividends.
you mean by law of reciprocity in the universe, or what?
Absolutely. Well, you know, for an example, I had a guy, and he was a warehouse guy. You know, he took care of the warehouse, put things on shelves, swept the floors, cleaned the trucks, whatever. And smart kid. And he was talking to me. He says, well, boss, you know, I would go back to college. He says, but I couldn't afford that. And I really wish I could get ahead, but I can't afford college. And so I tell you what, I said, you want to go to college? I said, go down to the community college, sign up for a couple of night courses. I said, I'll pay the bill 100% up front. I'll pay all your college expenses. One caveat, one condition.
What?
I says, you have to come back with a minimum of a B. If you come back with an A, I'll pay all of your next semester courses. He came back with an A every semester. I put the kid through college.
Well,
yeah.
That's great.
But do you know how many of my employees found out about that? All of them. Do you know how many of my employees really appreciated the heck out of me taking care of one of them? All of them. Do you know how much harder, or how many of them worked harder because they were working for a guy that cared about them?
How about that guy in upstate New York now that came up with that yogurt company 10 years ago? The Greek yogurt guy? I forget the name of it. But they're for sale everywhere now. He became a billionaire, and then he did something unprecedented. He invited everybody in and said, you're all getting a certain percentage of stock. And they all, when they walked out of the meeting, each worker there, regular worker, blue collar, each worth over $300,000 each in stock that they could cash in if they wanted to. And unprecedented, because this guy came here from Greece, started yogurt only 10 years ago. Shucks.
Well, one of the secrets to Publix supermarkets is that they're employee owned.
You mean like Publix?
Publix, yeah.
Yeah.
An employee owned because they have a company that cares about them.
Where are you from, Mr. Villafranco, originally?
Originally from New York. I've been in
Okay.
Florida since 1985.
Okay.
That's why he's the good guy. He's a native New Yorker.
He's a native New
We're in New York.
Yorker.
I was born in the city and I grew up on Long
Brooklyn.
Island.
Oh, Long
Okay.
Island. Okay.
Yeah, you know,
So-
it's interesting. I'm sitting between two gentlemen here that have very different opinions on unions and different issues, and it's a wonderful thing. It really is. But you may have noticed I'm keeping my mouth a little quiet during this conversation.
Because you have to, because you're running for judgeship.
I have to. A judge has got to put his own personal feelings
All
aside.
right. What about what's her name yesterday? The Supreme Court.
Oh, gosh.
Ginsburg.
Oh my God.
She really was. I mean,
She's
her-
going to move to New Zealand.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was not-
she spoke out, and I suppose that's her right. But
But it is her right. But
But-
what about it's not your right? Well, you're running
it's not
for
that it's my
office.
right. I have the right to say whatever I
Right
can.
now, when you're running for
I have
judgeship,
I have an
I thought there was a
obligation.
law.
No, there's certain rules. They're not laws, but I have an obligation
Yes.
to the citizens of the Treasure Coast and to the voters
Yeah.
to be fair and unbiased,
Yeah.
regardless of my opinion, regardless of politics.
Mhm.
Everybody has the right to talk about their opinions, their political views, and all of that. I keep that to myself for a reason, because in the courtroom, politics does not belong. There's a rule of law. If you don't like the law, deal with your legislatures, vote in different people. But in my courtroom, or in any courtroom for that matter, there should be no opinions. There should be no political views. There should be no Republican, Democrat, Libertarian. It should be the rule of law, and the judges, such as myself, should and will rule upon
So
all
should-
cases fairly and
So
unbiasedly.
shouldn't Ginsburg really recuse herself now from sitting on the bench anymore? I
That-
mean, this is terrible. I mean, Trump is right here. That was wrong, wasn't it? I mean,
That would be up to her. All
I
I
mean,
can
can
say
you
is I would not
imagine-
speak that type of
Can
opinion.
you imagine if a conservative judge had come out and said that against Hillary? Oh my word! The banditos from the TV stations would be out on the streets, stirring it up. Can you imagine? And they rightfully, there's any decent journalist out there, you should tear another rectum in that lady, because that was wrong. How could she do that?
I can
And
assure
what
the
bothers me
voters
is that
that
I really thought she was an objective person. What bothers me is that unless she's getting a little old, I want to give her leniency. I want to say, well, okay, you're older. You're not supposed to do that. She should know that. Is this kind of an inferior person we have on the what's it called, the Supreme Court?
Supreme Court. I think that the judge is right, that she has a right, the future judge, I'm sorry, is right, that she has a right to express her opinion, but he's keeping his opinions to himself so that there's no perception of bias. And that's a good thing too. But certainly she had a right to express her opinion. And
there should be no perception of bias, but at the same time, there should be no bias. And in that courtroom, if I'm elected and on that bench, I have to be able to assure the public, and I do assure the public, that I will be unbiased, regardless of my own
Yeah,
opinion.
perception suggests deceit. There actually should be.
Absolutely.
I mean, there should be a vow when you get there. Now, for instance, like with you guys running, you're not allowed to go if I go to a party for somebody that's collecting money, one of those events, they're having something for Mark
Fundraisers,
Whittley.
yeah.
What do you call it?
Fundraisers.
You're not allowed to go, right?
No, according to the judicial rules in Florida, I'm not permitted to endorse a candidate, give to a candidate, or ask for an endorsement from a candidate who's running in a contested election. And there's good reason for that, again,
Yeah,
to
what?
remain unbiased in the courtroom.
What if somebody knew something about a background for somebody, like shady background, whether it's you or one of the other candidates that have something that maybe is questionable? They're not allowed to bring that up with the judgeship.
You're permitted to bring it up, but I don't see
They
why
don't.
somebody would.
They don't. Yeah.
Do you mind talking about what the requirements are to run for judge?
You have to be a lawyer in good standing for a minimum of 5 years.
Now, what's good standing mean?
Good standing with the Florida bar, which means permitted to practice law.
They could have had bad standing 6 years ago. And what would
Yeah.
bad standing mean?
Well, if they're not
No.
permitted to
Have
practice
you ever had
law,
you've never had a bad standing, right?
not a bad standing, no,
No. And none of these other guys have that you know of?
not that I know of.
So what would a bad standing be? Reprimand?
There was a judge who got
That in and of
alive,
itself
maybe.
would still be.
I mean, Ira Hatch, who went to jail for 30 years, who was an attorney in town, if he got out
You
now,
could
5 years
consider
after he
him
run for
as bad
judgeship,
standing.
well, he's got bad standing now, but well, I don't even know if he has a license. I don't think he has.
No, his license was revoked.
Do you think he should have gotten 30-something years? I don't.
I think it was political. I mean, he clearly did things wrong. Clearly, he deserves something. But I think
I've seen
that
guys in New York City on what's that TV show all about? You know, criminal something or other, and Stacy Keach does the voice behind it. And there he was. He was a billionaire, and he ripped off all these people. And the guy gets caught, loses all his money. He goes to jail for 8 to 10 years, and he's out. Why should this guy get 30-something years?
he certainly got a very stiff penalty.
And then people locally go, yeah, Rhett, what if it was you? Well, he did owe me a few $1,000. So what? He also used to give me money to advertise the American. He said, this month I want you to promote the American Red Cross. So this month I want you to promote this. He was a giving guy. Of course, now people say, yeah, he was
giving
spending
somebody
other people's
else's
money. That's not
You
true.
can give a lot of money away if it's
He
someone
made
else's.
that's also perception. I noticed when I was over at Classic Car Wash, and I'd love to go over there. Just got my detail my car recently. But anyway, people in there, and they're frothing at the mouth. Hey, tear him asunder. Let's put a horse on one arm, another horse on another arm, tie him up. Let's quarter him. That's what they call quartering, when they tear your legs and arms up. I mean, it was like, I was looking around going, oh, I didn't know you all were so lily white. And they think they're lily white. And I know they're not. Huh? As ye judge, so shall ye
when
be
you
judged.
think about what we've done to each other in this country, there's a
That's what we did to the
perception-
Indian.
Oh, well, I'm Native American. Yeah, I want my land back.
Did you ever read the Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee? They come out and cut out the genitalia of women and stuff. Well, what the heck is that? What kind of a human could do that?
And,
I couldn't finish reading the book. It was so horrible. I'm glad, and I recommend nobody read it till you're at least in your 50s, because you won't be able to handle it.
It was only in
I
recent years where we stopped public executions in the United States, which I think, first of all, I'm 100% opposed to capital punishment.
Yeah.
But public
Look,
executions.
did you hear what happened
really?
in Tennessee? Did you see that article in Bureau's Voice magazine we did a couple of years ago? This is a true story. So the circus came to town up in Tennessee, and this elephant trampled on the trainer and killed him. Now the trainer everybody said was present, was beating him, whipping it, and just being terrible. So finally the elephant turned on Trump, tramped him, killed him. So you know what they did up in Tennessee? They rigged up this whole thing and they hung the elevator. They hung the elephant. They hung the elephant in the town. Like, yeah, Joe, we're going to scare them other elephants not to do such a thing in the future. They could have poked a gun in the ear of the elephant and killed the elephant, but they hung the elephant. Now, that kind of stupid could only happen in America, right? Yeah, Jake, we're taking that elephant. We're going to show them other elephants to not misbehave. We're hanging him from the scruff of his neck. We have 31 seconds. Okay, can you guys all stay for another half an hour?
Sure.
I have to go. I have to be in court this afternoon. So
You have to be in court.
yes.
All right. So it's Leonard Villafranco,
Leonard Silvio Villafranco, candidate for 19th Circuit Judge, Group 6.
Group 6.
Yes.
And there's 4 of you in the 6.
There's 4 of us in this particular race. Yes.
Trying to confuse it, but the 4 and the 6 gets confused.
Well, there's also two folks running for Group 1, Circuit Judge Group 1.
Who's that?
Gal by the name of Beth Allen and a sitting judge, Jim McCann.
Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
We got to take a break. We'll be back on the other side of the news, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, sir.
Mr. Villafranco, now, did you drive all the way up to do this?
I got a couple of things I got to do.
Oh, okay, good.
But no, it's like,
I was saying you could call in sometime. That's a long license to it.
I don't mind. I got to be up here.
Yeah.
I've got to be up here. When you're running in 4 counties.
Have you gone on Marshall Littlejohn's show?
No.
What other show should he go on?
Mine.
You have one?
I fired up show.
Is it still on?
Yeah.
I thought that station went out of
Political.
business.
I got to be careful on these political shows.
Yeah, I'm sorry
Yeah,
about
no,
that.
Don't be.
Mine's pretty political.
I just
love free speech. I think everyone should be allowed to have these forums. I'm just not permitted to comment on them.
No, thank you.
Now, your thing is this, when's your thing at the Hibachi?
The 25th, on a Monday night. I
Okay,
already told you about it.
I know, I may not be here.
You're gonna be.
I'm going to Vermont
No, you told me you're
to
gonna be.
exercise.
How about a big fight on Union?
Well, if I'm here, I'll be.
I need you there.
Yeah, I think the unions are necessary when you have bad employers. And I think that government in this county is a good example of bad employers. And, I understand why the unions exist when we have governing authorities that constantly, the best thing that they could possibly do in terms of their constituents, just, for PR purposes, is just beat up on the unions, and they make the constituents think that what they're trying to do is hold taxes, and they do this on the backs of the workers. But if you look at the wage of the worker bee for the government worker bee in our community, these guys are not making a lot of money. The worker bees are not making a lot of money. There's a good reason why we have unions, because they need to make a decent living wage. And the public has a very wrong perception. They think that if you cut a government worker down to, that was making $15 an hour, if you can cut that job down to $10 an hour, then you've done a wonderful thing. When you have it, a guy that's making $10 an hour is instead of making a wage that he can support himself on, instead what he's doing is picking up food stamps, picking up Section 8 housing, picking up government help all over the place. And if I could write the prescription, I would write it where employees made a decent living wage and wouldn't need the government programs. And when you look at the government program, it's laughable. You've got this person in charge of whatever, Section 8 housing, and they're making decisions as to whether or not to give this poor family, a decent living place to live that is, whatever, trying to survive on $12,000 a year. And yet the government employee that's making that decision is making $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of disparity there.
The inequality and the hierarchy in government is, it's outrageous what they make. Right, Sean?
It is, Brian. You're singing to the choir with me. You know that.
No, it's outrageous.
I just think under neoclassical economics that's the perfect formula for them to have servants and worker bees.
Yeah.
They keep them.
They
there.
keep them, absolutely.
They do it intentionally.
Absolutely.
And that's the unconscionable sin.
Yes.
That's me.
Yes.
Because I have friends that are in that position. They just simply cannot get out of it. They try.
No, they try their best. They work full time, and then try to pick up a couple extra bucks on the
And it
side.
breaks the family unit down.
Oh.
And there is no. I mean, when you think about it, the average family in that position isn't a family anymore.
No. I'll be 69 years old this year, so I've been around for a while. But when I was growing up in the 40s and the 50s, my father made enough money so that mom could stay home and take care of kids.
His retirement wasn't at risk.
You
could
know?
have a family unit.
You know?
You could go on vacations. You could. I know, and and then all of a sudden, man, that turn and everything in the early 80s, I started to see it, and actually in the 70s, but you saw that dramatic turn in the 80s, and you're like, and I remember my dad saying, he was a conservative Catholic guy, he said, the world just changed in America.
Oh yeah, oh absolutely.
And I was like, what are you talking about, Dad? And he told me, and I said, and then all of a sudden, I saw it progress and get worse and worse, and then of course, Hillary came up with that book, It Takes a Village. And I'm like, my God, here is her prescription that she's making. That's the worst thing. The truly evil people will tell you in a movie, a book, an interview, exactly what they're going to do.
Absolutely tell you right to your face, exactly. Here's how we're going to screw you.
And sometimes I sit back there and I'm like, I don't know, man.
How does Hillary, and I'm not a Hillary basher, I'm not anti-Democrat or whatever, but how does somebody Now, when I was an elected official, I knew that any work that I did had to be through my government email, not through my own private server, not through my own private equipment, but through government equipment, through government servers.
Hold on one second. Oh, yeah, you're fine. Thank
I try to get Rhett to do this every Wednesday between now and, let's just try to get him to do it every Wednesday.
I'm done. I mean,
Brian,
if
hold
you
on
want,
one
we can
second.
even.
I just want to
How's the
see
show?
what he's going on.
I'm sorry about missing the last show.
Oh, no, that's fine, that's fine.
I checked my voicemail and I'm like, it's 2:00, and you're like, hey, at 1:00 we'll record it. I'm like, we recorded
Yeah,
it.
so you're not running.
I didn't even. So
That's right. And this afternoon, hopefully, I'm gonna get some studio time so that I know a little bit more in advance, because the way it is right now, it's kind of, they give me a call, hey, we got
Unless
time
he's
this
not gonna be here
afternoon.
in time, and then I'll throw a
Well,
spot.
that's
I'm
what I
gonna drop what I
was
do
saying.
and
He's
go
back
do
to the
it,
admin.
Yeah.
So,
I need more time than that. But yeah, they tell you, and then they do things like they from the State Department. I mean, my goodness, and all the mail, instead of going through the State Department, now goes to
I
ClintonMail.com.
know, I know.
Top secret shit. So if the president wants to contact Hillary, instead of sending it, oh geez, why don't I send this to the State Department anymore? I send it to Hillary Clinton, ClintonMail.com, goes up to Chappaqua. Really? And nobody sees anything wrong with that? Really?
That's why in '88 I became a constitutionalist. And I was, Republican until '88.
Yeah.
And, it's because common sense and rule of law has to be applied equally, straight across the board.
Hey, you got a good voice for radio.
Oh, stop it.
You know that. All right.
I got a good face for radio.
Shane and Sean and Sean and Shane.
That's it. Come back for a refill.
Rhett Palmer, the mayor of the airwaves.
We continue to continue. So I'll continue to pretend that life will never end. What song was that?
I do.
Shadows never bend with the rainfall, or flowers never bend with the rainfall. Remember
Do
that?
you watch any of that America's Got Talent?
Once in a while, I'll pass by and stop.
This was whatever it was, 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago, and it was a New Yorker, and this is an Italian New Yorker who delivers pizza, and heavy set guy, young guy, and he comes out and he was kind of comical, but clearly a New Yorker, and anyways, so he talked about some of the old, Dean Martin roasts and those kinds of things. And then when he auditioned and sang, oh my goodness, this guy had this incredible Frank Sinatra voice. In fact, he sang a Frank Sinatra song. And it was interesting, maybe because I'm a child of the 40s and the 50s, and I had that kind of music playing in my house when I was a child. But this guy was really good, and it's amazing that there are still some performers that really go back to that kind of music rather than some of the squawking that you hear that I can't understand.
I do not understand any of this thing happening today.
I don't get it.
I mean, you got the young guys back in there. We're talking about music. Okay, I know you two are chatting back there, but music today, like with the, I mean, they do this rap thing. Hey, and I'm going like, is it because do I have old ears? I can't understand a damn word he's saying. Do you guys like rap? Do either of you like rap? Let me put on my headset. Hold on. Do either of you guys like rap?
I'm not a big rap fan myself.
You?
Country songs are bigger rap fan than I am.
Sean?
I think if it has parts, it's one thing, but, yeah, predominance of rap and hip hop is sensitive.
Anger?
It has no rhyme or reason, and I think it's intentionally meant to.
Well, it has rhyme. You said it has no rhyme or reason. It has rhyme. I was walking down the street. I was feeling kind of sad, and then I saw Hetty, and then I felt real bad. Anyway.
But you know, some of the songs though over the years, and I've been coming on this show for 20 years, and
Yes, you have.
the some of the songs that you come up with. In fact, I told you I was cleaning out something the other day, and I found this CD of the Mayor and McCarskey.
Oh, yeah.
And funny stuff that and you have a real talent of being able just to put that stuff together without any practice and without you know, I mean, obviously you put a lot of thought into it, but you can put out some stuff that's pretty good and meaningful and do it pretty quickly.
Well, thank you.
You know, and you know, we should do this. We should do this political talk on Wednesdays. We should do this more often. We used to do it all the time. So
Bixby says, "Can you always understand Stevie Nicks?" No.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I don't
keep my problems to myself. Then you go again. Makes me feel so
That's a good one.
Did you ever, you know, like you ever, you know, like a bong? No, what's one? It's a song by that group that played with the behind. I pulled into Nazareth. I was feeling about 10:30. Now that's the words that I heard. It's not the words at all. Pulled into Nazareth. I thought that's a great line. Feeling about 10:30. What does that mean? Well, obviously those aren't
I
the
don't
words.
like it and don't listen to it. So
Don't listen to what?
all of that music, you know. I mean,
No, this is older music. This is Bob Dylan's band.
Yeah.
The band.
But we were talking about some of the newer music,
Oh, yeah.
and
Well, a lot of it's misogynistic. It's anti-female, and I don't like using the word nigger. I do not like that word. I do not approve of that word in songs. I don't care if you're black. I don't want you using the word nigger. I don't like that word.
it's
It's a
interesting.
terrible word. I don't use it, and I don't want anybody around me using it, and I don't want black folk even using it because you put down another. Hey, yo, nigger. What are you doing talking to him that way?
When I was very young, that word had nothing to do with the color of your skin. And
What did it used to mean?
in the 40s, in the late 40s, early 50s, it talked about the certain content about the character of someone, but it kind of evolved into a negative word about a particular race.
I actually wrote. You go. Keep talking. Keep talking.
But you know, in fact, that was one of the topics that a debate the other night was about the Confederate flag in schools and whether it should be banned. And you know, I have a hard time banning words and banning Confederate flags, and they're certainly not words that I use. I don't condone it. It's not the kind of language you'll hear around my house. But the King's English somehow has fallen by the wayside, and the language that is acceptable in today's world is much different than the language that was acceptable when I was growing up.
Yeah, I'm looking for this. I wrote a poem about the word, the N word. A little ways back, where I can find it.
And Steve, you know, I really don't know your family, but I mean, that kind of language wasn't acceptable. The trash talk wasn't acceptable in your family when you were growing up, was it? It was.
No, I mean with the hip hop and you know even rappers like Eminem,
Yeah.
you could, but it was to like get up for a sport, you were going out to do something like mass killing.
Yeah,
You weren't sitting at home in your bedroom blasting it like it was the Beatles.
yeah.
But as far as that word, the N word, no, never.
Getting up and going out and do something, and that's different in today's world too, where we would get up and we would go outside and we would be physically active. And so much of the kids today, they sit in front of video games that are by and large pretty violent. You know? And when you sit in front of that for hours and hours on end, then it's not all that far a stretch to understand or connect some of the violence that we see in today's society.
Well, what about these guys, these stars that are this guy? What's the one now? Matt Damon's in a movie. It's all about shooting and stuff, and he thinks that guns should be made illegal, and he makes all these movies with guns and everybody killing everybody. What kind of craziness is that?
You mean like the Born Identity type?
Yeah, that's the film. Yeah, he's going to be in that new one. He's anti-gun and everything. I said, what are you doing making that picture then? There's a little glitch in your consistency here in your code of ethics.
It's interesting if you look at the gun statistics, and every time there's a mass shooting or the shooting of the police officers, every time something like that happens, there's a call to get rid of guns and to ban guns. But if you look at the statistics of who's killed with guns or who's injured with guns in this country, it opens your eyes. It's not the ones that make the news are certainly the big splash are things like in Orlando and things in Dallas and up in Connecticut. But that's not where the majority of the deaths come from. The domestic violence is big numbers, where it's you kind of joked about it before. You talked about divorce, and you had asked an elderly couple whether they had ever considered divorce, and they said no. But then she added murder, right? She considered murder.
Mm.
Well, the reality of the gun numbers is that happens often. And the other thing with guns, big numbers, suicides. And it's not the violent guy that walks into a mall. It's not those aren't where the biggest gun deaths are in the United States. It's
First responder suicides are very high, whether it be police or even military police, ambulances, ambulance drivers.
ambulance. I don't know whether you saw the article, and this is kind of ridiculous, but at a county level, the county commission talks about cutting back dollars and saving money, and they love to tell the constituents in the county what a good job they're doing. And then you look at the details, and the devil is always in the details. And you see the millions of dollars that we spend on lawyers, and in some cases fighting ourselves. I mean, the county commission has instituted and is currently involved in lawsuits suing their own constituents. They're suing the city. Well, the city residents are also county residents. So the poor city residents pay for it twice. They pay once for the lawyers for the county, and then they pay twice for the lawyers for the city to defend themselves against the county. And anyway, you see these kinds of expenditures, and then you see where an ambulance breaks down on 95 carrying a child to a trauma center because the commissioners didn't place a higher priority on providing decent equipment to the paramedics, to the firefighters in our community. But they had absolutely no problem writing a bigger check to the lawyers to either institute or defend against ridiculous lawsuits, and often lawsuits that we have zero chance of winning.
The city manager's discussion and analysis, $101.6 million were spent on licenses, permits, and intergovernmental services.
So, yeah.
$1.6 million between licenses, permits, in intergovernmental expenses. What is an intergovernmental expense?
I'd have to go to the details to see what he's talking about.
Well,
in
right
that
now I need a
number,
new
but-
license plate for a car I bought.
Yeah.
I got this fancy new car out there.
Oh, your
It's
Quest.
183,000 miles on it.
Right.
They want $400 for a plate. Now, what I got to do is I can take the plate off my antique car,
Right.
put it on there. That only costs $100, and then I can get a paper plate for my antique car twice, and until I sell it. I'm trying to sell that thing.
And guess how much they actually spent on grants for people in the city?
How much?
$75,000. 1.6 million between licenses, permits, and intergovernmental, and $75,000 for the citizens.
And I think if you look up the amount of dollars that they spent on lawyers and lawsuits, that number would probably stagger you. It's, it's outrageous what we spend in this country fighting with each other.
Found it. The N-word. Nigger, nigger. I hate that word. When I hear young singers say it, it throws me a curve. It has attachments, at least in my mind, of ignorant mouths I thought we'd left far behind. Perhaps if we say it every minute for an hour, it will dissipate and lose its power, like a loud gun that fires when you pull its trigger. I don't like violence, and I don't like the word nigger.
I mean, there's lots of words that in
Strong.
today's world
Good.
are used way too
Those
often.
words shouldn't be used. Yeah.
Yeah. I never do. I think it's,
I think it speaks volumes about the person that's using that kind of language.
Yeah.
And it often speaks more about the user than it does about whoever they're throwing it at.
Do you think Debbie Mayfield's going to get Legacy Florida passed with Amendment 1?
Now, what is legacy? What is this? Explain it.
Legacy Florida is trying to get all the land acquisition trust funds, as well as allowing estuaries, and also starting to talk now about how we need to spend the money in the county. So it's a huge bill, but essentially Debbie Mayfield's trying to pass it right now.
Well, we've spent millions of dollars in the county on land acquisition, where the county spend hardworking taxpayers' money on buying land for preservation. And I tell you, the only thing it really was a gift to politically connected people who got millions of dollars to promise not to develop their land. When, to my way of thinking, first of all, probably would have never been developed anyhow. But I think that we would have been much better off just insisting that the current zoning stay, where those large tracts of land could not be developed into small lots anyhow. And often you see, well, it's interesting. You see people moving to the cities here in our county or into the county at large. And they move here because they come to Indian River County, they come to Vero Beach, Sebastian, and they see this wonderful place. And then if they watch what goes on at local government, they see that this wonderful place at every meeting just about is being attacked by the governing body trying to change some rule. And in fact, in last week's program, Rhett, you were talking about condos on this very street, and how down at the end of the street, the old lobster shanty is now, it's a private, expensive hotel, and just up from that, that old. Remember the Candlelight? Wasn't that down there where those?
Yeah, and the Cafe de Soie used to be upstairs. They tore that down.
Right.
It's being made into condos.
And those condos are beautiful,
Yeah.
and it increases the tax base in our community. I mean, I can tell you 100 wonderful things about those condos,
Yeah.
but it's most of those things require zoning changes in order to allow those to be built. And when you come in and you run in, you've heard this, where people run a campaign on keeping Vero and keeping the status quo and not letting our county grow into high rises and then they get on the county commissions, or they get on the city council, And the next thing you know, one of their large contributors has this parcel of land that they want to change the zoning on. And of course, when you have a large contributor to your campaign that wants something, the chances are pretty good that your vote is going to be yes in favor of the change.
I am a little astounded at some of these prices we saw here today. I mean, the fact that, what was it?
The dollar amounts in campaign contributions?
Bob Solari, 127,000.
That's impressive.
That is impressive. That's,
Is it
John
ballpark
Kim,
about
25,000. Tiffany, 33,000. Laura Zork, 10,000. Douglas Malon, I don't know what that is, 1,500. Stephen Schreck, S-C-Z-U-R.
These are school board members you're talking about, right?
Zurich.
Yeah. Let's see, are there any other big? No, not really. We got District 3 Hospital, no money. I was saying Karen Deagle. Oh, she's running? Karen, you're running for Carbohydrate.
Yeah, that was, Karen was
I thought she worked for us, for the government.
with the county, yeah.
You allowed to run for office and work for the government?
I don't think she does that job for the county anymore.
Yes. Yeah, because I'm upset about those buses. And she's in charge of that.
Well, you should be upset about the buses. Over on the island, they run this continuous loop.
Yeah.
Right, around the island. And I think the expenditure on that one run is like $180,000 a year. $160,000, $180,000 a year. And actually a reporter for Vero News decided he's going to spend the day just riding the bus.
Really?
And he was the only one on the bus all day long. This thing just went around all day long.
You're going to spend $1.8 million on a waiting room soon.
On a what?
A waiting area. It's going to be on 1235 16th Street, and it's going to be $1.8 million.
For a waiting room.
Waiting area, covered walkways, shelters, and building with bathrooms.
And this is coming up where? On 16th Street?
Yes, sir.
We're on 16th.
Is this for the buses?
It's for the buses, IRC Go Line Bus, 1235 16th Street. They said the low bid would be $1.2 million, but it's probably going to be about $1.8 million.
Who introduced this? Whose idea is this? Let's tar and feather them.
I got it from an editorial on TC Palm. I know that Gil Smart, he's one of the editors there. But essentially, yeah, it's about $1.8 million.
When I was on city council, Rhett, what I did.
Go Line Bus, 1235 16th Street. Now, hold on. Where would that be? 16th.
16th Street would be the high school. And
Go Line?
yes, sir.
It's next door to Treasure and Space Coast Radio, right next to the railroad track.
And they wanted to build a building there?
I guess that's going to be their new Lakehead building.
The new hub?
Yeah.
1.2 million, low
Thank
bid, 1.8 million probably. 1,732 square feet, building with bathrooms, waiting area, covered walkways and shelters. Why would it cost 1.2 million? Because somebody who's a friend who has, now is this already going to happen, or do we have to, is somebody going to approve this or what?
This has been approved.
By who? The city or the county commissioners?
The city and the city manager.
Well, the Go Line, that would involve the county.
Oh, I'm sorry, my block.
And the Go Line Bus, see, what they do is they sell, and I ran into Karen and I said, you're selling advertising, you're competing against me. So all the money goes to, I don't care where the money goes. You're not supposed to be, you're not in the private sector. You're not supposed to be competing against me. Now, I'm partially paying for those buses, and then you're competing against me with advertisers for advertising dollars.
And that's not right.
It's not right. How can we end it?
Well, you put people like me on county commission.
Okay. Yeah, I wish I could.
But, yeah, I mean.
Well, even if you don't win, will you still help me with that?
Well,
let's go after it.
Right. I mean,
you're a get it done kind of guy.
That question, I mean, that over the last 20 years, whether I was elected or not elected, I've continued to help.
No, but I've been negligent in asking you.
Yeah, well.
This time I'm asking.
Okay.
This is just a bunch of bunk.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's nonsense. Government shouldn't be.
I like that. I'm not going to hurt this guy. There's a young man who sells the advertising. He has a private contract with them.
It's fine.
He must be doing pretty well because he spends his weekends down at the breakers and stuff, and that costs, you know what,
He could
$700 a night to
He
stay
could
there.
make
So
money selling advertising for you too.
that would be great. Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Huh.
But it's the point. Matter of fact, I should call him and tell him that, you know, that. I forget his name. I got to contact him. You're right. I should go to him and say, "Look, this is what I'm doing. I'm coming down. It's nothing to do with you, buddy. But I'm telling you what, you know, you're competing against me for ad dollars. So, and on top of that,
Well, he's doing a job, but the county commissioner is competing against you. And it's not right.
yeah.
Your governing authority should
When do they
not
have
be
their
in
meetings?
competition.
Tuesdays? I
Tuesday
never go
mornings.
usually.
Tuesday
How do I
mornings.
get up
First,
to the
second, and
agenda to
third.
speak?
You have to send them a letter and get it approved.
You have to send a letter.
Correct.
I can't just show up and speak to
No.
my county commissioners?
No,
Why not?
because they don't allow it.
Well, they don't allow. Well, I'll put a dang full-page ad in Vero's Voice magazine. I'll talk about it on the radio. I'll put a full-page ad in the newspaper.
No, it's the arrogance of public officials towards the
You have to submit a
constituents.
letter. It used to be you could go to the county commission and speak that day.
Okay, well,
When did that change?
Well, I don't have some of these dates committed to memory, but it's been in effect for a very long time that if you have a topic that you want to bring, you want to go to speak, you have to send them a letter and they'll put you on the agenda. But it's
Can they disapprove if they don't like the subject?
yeah, it's their agenda. They can do what they want. And the city council now.
So you don't have freedom of speech to talk to your hired representatives.
Freedom of speech is an illusion. The city council now doesn't allow people. You used to, when I was on city council, we invited the public to the public podium.
Now what happens now?
Now you sit through the entire meeting. So you go into the meeting, and if they get to public comment after 2 hours, you might get to speak after 2
That's
hours, or
terrifying.
you might get after 7 hours.
That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Let's fire them all. Fire them all!
I would agree with that.
Let's fire them all.
Put all new faces on.
Let's fire them all.
Thanks for the save, Brian. I said the city manager, I meant the county.
Yeah. No, that's a county function, not a city function. So
Fire them all.
I think that's 10:30. How did we go to 10:30?
I don't know.
I thought we went to 10 o'clock. You're confusing me, Mr. Palmer. That's it anyway. That's the end of the show. Yeah.
Oh, you met Sean too, right? What'd you think?
Oh, good. Yeah. I would. What I really would like to do is to get together with him and you and me and all of us, just kind of sit down and brainstorm a little bit about what we can and can't do. And I think that I mean, there's some things I can do right now and some things I can't do right now, but I think it's good if we have a plan going, not a written plan, nothing formal, but at least, even since just you and I have talked, I think we've progressed a hell of a lot. And I'd like to see that continue, and get an alternative out there for the rest of the people in this community where they've got something other than just the Republic. Hey there, yes sir. Sorry I missed your call. I was speaking on the Rhett Palmer show, so I couldn't answer the phone. Hello. Hello.
You are correct. This was hour 1 or 2. I'm totally taking up 2 minutes of it. Because originally when we had Dobson went until 31. Right. And so it was easier on their end. We took until 32. So I played a minute on a spot on my end. One was a 30-second Dobson, send us donations, keep Dobson on the air, and the other was a 30-second Palmer spot. Because he's now doing a half hour. I deleted that 31 to 30 and just made it 30. Yeah, well, once you stop it, it automatically.
Let's see.
So all you have to do is.
Call Jimmy Lesage.
There you go. It snows a lot too.
Gotta make a phone call.